All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mississippi Wrestling Network. I'm once again joined by my dear friend Joe Deere. How we doing today, Joe?
Man, you already know, dude. We're about to talk about my favorite sport, my favorite person, and boy, what an electric state tournament. The season's come to an end, and it's been another great way to end a fantastic season, right?
It has, man. Hey, these boys' finals matches were some of the most competitive. As far as like getting getting there, semifinals, everything getting there. But man, we had some great finals matches with the boys, and man, the environment was just out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, we had an immense fan base. I mean, people traveled very well. It was packed between the two fan sections and the athletic competitor section. So the environment was very electric, and I want to double down on what you're saying about the pathway to the finals was probably the toughest it's been. I know I saw a lot of really good kids get kicked to the backside really early, and a lot of, last year was I think when we both agreed that was probably a really when we started being really competitive in the state. This year, it's just gone up more, um, which we love to see it because it just makes the medals mean more.
Absolutely. I mean, like even some of the most competitive matches were those third place matches.
Yeah.
And because that's when you really get to test the heart of these kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we're starting to see it. Like a lot of kids are not just taking that first loss and just kind of conceding the day. It's like okay, they're starting to really understand that hey, like making it on that podium means something, right? Like it's one thing to show up to these tournaments, but when you don't even make it to day two, uh, it hurts. It
Oh
hurts, and that's why you saw a lot of heartbreak on Friday because guys knew the situation they got themselves in, and they was going to have to wrestle back. But then to see some of those kids make that wrestle back, like that was awesome to watch.
yeah, and that's what I've been loving. That's what we've been waiting for. Where it's like at last year was kind of like you're not entitled to a trip to the state tournament. Then this year it was like you're not entitled to a medal.
Right.
I didn't see very many first year wrestlers make it to that day two, which was again it's showing that the depth of competition is it's improving very fast. And so I love to see it as a coach. I love to see it as a fan, and I hope as a community we're loving to see it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Particularly in the boys. You're finding some of the first year girl wrestlers that they just bring some intangibles to the table
Yeah.
that like a Lauren Morris. Like it's just man, it's like what you gonna do to stop that? You know that's different, but you're not really seeing that in the boys. You know what I'm saying? Like the only exception that I would say where you could still see that would be like in a heavyweight division,
Mm.
right? It's like you saw Caden Hill come in, last year, and now he's a two-time state champion,
Yeah.
right? And you'll see that, but they have to be exceptional.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into it when we start breaking down some of these finals matches and some of these brackets. And I mean, there are some good first year teams that had some really quality kids, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, I'll give you one example. Like, in Oxford, I was like, okay, we're on the backside. We should probably get a good match. And then I saw, hey, this kid got fourth last year. We're already in the consolation quarterfinals. Like, oh man, this is a tough tournament. So I love to see it. We're growing very fast, very rapidly, and it's great to see.
Yeah, and I mean, and you didn't see a lot of repeat champions,
That is true.
right? Like that was kind of the theme that I picked up was like after Saturday morning, I was like, okay, like it's just gonna be new blood. Like somebody different's gonna get it this year, And I was excited to see that. I mean, you're excited to see it because now you're getting to see that's growth,
Yeah,
right?
like
Like
the
that's competition
implications of
growth.
it, like just showing that people are stepping up. I mean, for God's sakes, like one weight class had three state champions in
Yeah,
it. Like you're saying, like not everyone can get first.
right.
So that it's just exciting.
Yeah,
It's very
absolutely,
exciting.
absolutely. All right, man. So
Yeah, let me get comfortable. Let's start
yeah.
chatting.
So now, first off, I mean, I just got to let everybody know, man. Like when it comes to the boys' side,
Yeah.
right? Like when it comes to the boys' side, you can't stop them, baby. You just can't stop them. Van Cleve, 9 finalists, right? 5 state champions as a dual team on the year they finished 35-1. Like, man, that the boys do a lot of wrestling, and hey, they were there to compete, and we'll get into it, but some of these matches was just man, it was domination. Man, they looked like they were on another level, right? They did,
Yeah.
and
No,
so hey, congratulations, Van Cleve. I mean, hey, they put in the work, and man, like the numbers don't lie in the state tournament. You know what I mean? Like, hey, great job.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. Van Cleve definitely looks like I mean, they're continuing to increase the gap. They're doing what it takes. They're putting in the time and effort, and it's showing. I mean, you don't get 9 state finals by accident. And then as we dive into the finals matches, we're going to talk about. You saw some clear differences between some of those matches and how they went, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's clear that the formula that they're working with is very successful, and they're churning it out, and their trajectory of success is going to keep on keeping on.
Absolutely. Now that doesn't mean they didn't face adversity though, because like I said, you had 9 finalists, but you only had 5 state champs. So, hey, there's other teams out there, other wrestlers out there that hey they know, right? Because they like we were talking about with the girls, it's like when you take yourself out of state, it's like hey that doesn't look as intimidating anymore,
Yeah.
right? And so and you saw that some of the kids that we know that have went and searched out that competition, they weren't intimidated when they stepped on the mat, and the results show that as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, that the recipe is. Did you hear what I said? They were 35-1 as a dual team, right? Like go wrestle, right?
Mhm.
Go wrestle. Like that's the recipe. That is the recipe. There ain't no secret. That's the secret. Go wrestle, right? Go get that experience. And hey, like you said, there's going to come a lot of success, but that doesn't mean there's not adversity in it as well, right? But I love that, as a team, they're the ones that, love them or hate them. It's like you're chasing them, right? Like you're chasing them, and they are motivating for the state, right? They are motivating. Whether your motivation is, hey, I want to be like them, or hey, I can't wait to beat them. It's like, well, go do it. Go do it. Hey, and they give you 36 opportunities as a team a year to do it too, right? Like, so they ain't that, they're there to wrestle. But I would say my biggest takeaway is like, especially for certain boys, because like me, it hurts me because, South Pontotoc. And it's just like, man, we just can't even feel a team.
Yeah.
Right. And then you see that on one end of the spectrum versus this on the other end of the spectrum. And it's like, man, we need some of that, right? Like we need some fire like that. And I think that's truly been a good driver of the progress that as a state we've made, to go be more competitive, because they've shown early on that it's like, man, like there's a gap that already needs to be closed within the state, and we just started, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think that right there has been beneficial. And hey, I like the fact that people, they kind of get rubbed the wrong way about it. It's like, because they are cocky and they are, they're not shy about it.
Yeah.
They're not shy about it. And hey, me as a competitor, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And hey, we'll start it out with them right here. We had Daniel Lindsay of Van Cleve taking on Jonah Lopez of St. Patrick's.
Yeah, man. So I feel like I'm going to be repetitive with a couple of these matches, specifically, like 106, 120, 126, and 215. Daniel Lindsay has set himself far from the rest of the pack. I mean, shout out to Lopez, buddy. You fought with a lot of courage, a lot of bravery. You demonstrate a lot of things that I encourage my athletes to do. Like you kept moving, you kept fighting. Even when you got taken down, you're constantly working up. So you showed a lot of potential, a lot of promise in that match. But it's very clear that Lindsay's kind of wrestling in a league of his own at that weight class. I mean, he controlled probably every second with the hand fighting, the takedown. He was really tough on top.
It was the chain wrestling, right?
Yes.
Just he never stopped. He just anything he would do. And like I said, I agree with you, man. Like Lopez, he did exactly what you were supposed to do, in those positions. The only problem is that Lindsay was just already gone to the next thing, right? It's like before he could build that base back up, and he was quick at doing it, like Lindsay was like, that's why he was having to chain wrestle the way he was, is because Lopez was doing the right things defensively. And it became a chess match that once Lindsey got out ahead of him, like he never really let Lopez catch up, and so it looked just like total control, you know. But man, I mean, like I said, if Lopez wouldn't have been doing the things defensively that he was doing, like the match wouldn't have lasted as long as it did.
Yeah.
You know.
And I tell you what, I mean, this again, this is gonna be a recurring theme in this conversation where it's very clear that, I mean, let me just, Daniel Lindsay had 65 matches before he even stepped into Friday's competition. And so, yeah, he's probably getting used to chain wrestling. He's probably developed a feel for it, and he's an 8th grader. So, I mean, to have that many matches at that young of an age, to already be flowing through position to position to position, it is very impressive. And it caught my eye, and let me start to say this, we've never shied away that, we have a bit of a northern tilt, but just because we don't get to watch the South that often.
Yeah.
And so I heard the name, I remember the name, and I saw the success and the stats on the pages and the social media posts and all that good stuff, but I had never seen him wrestle until the state tournament. And he met all the hype, and he deserves all the praise because the work he's putting in is clearly showing.
Absolutely.
So it was very impressive from Daniel Lindsay. And, like I said, Lopez, you're in 10th grade. You have much more time to work on things. Keep grinding. You showed a lot of really great intangibles. Like I said, just the ability to, you're throwing things at them too. You're making them work. It's just more experience for you. We'll see you jump levels as well. And then, a couple of other kids who I was really happy with. I was really impressed. I like Collins from St. Martin. I thought he was really solid. He ran to Lindsay early, and but he gave him a fight. I mean, he didn't get pinned. It was only a major. So I think he's going to have a really successful career moving forward. He's also just an 8th grader. So yeah, definitely an 8th grader. So I mean, he's going to be another name that we're probably going to see for a while. And I cannot talk about 106 without bringing up my boy Jensen Hill.
I was about to say,
what I'm saying?
Hey, look, I remember last year. He ended up, getting on the podium last year, and then whenever he walked off the podium, he went and sat in a chair, and his feet weren't even touching the ground, right? And then now he comes up this year, made it to the podium again, improved, right? Made an improvement, but he's still got about 10 more pounds to go before he's even getting to the limit, to the actual 106.
And he's getting there. Little by little, he's still, I think, he's still one of my favorites to watch. He's such a good technical wrestler. It's just the size difference. I mean, I'm sure he's tired of hearing that, but I cannot not mention.
And he's game. I one of his matches. I saw he was down. It was he had already taken a loss. He was wrestling back. He was down in the match, and then boom, gets a reversal, gets a pin. Right. It's like that's what I like about Jensen here is, like I said, he's probably one of the most technical wrestlers like in the field, but man, like his heart is twice the size of his body. You know what I mean? Like he is not gonna stop fighting you no matter what he's feeling in there, right? Like he wrestles till the end. And that's why, he finds the success he does. But you're right, he's still about like 10, 15 pounds away, right, from being that top guy.
But other than that, I mean, again, another recurring theme we're going to talk about a lot is this is one of those weight classes. Hey, those top 4 wrestlers, I think it's fair to say they're all pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And then like I said, Lindsay's he's operating at a whole different level. But 2nd, 3rd, 4th place, I think they're really quality wrestlers. I think we're going to see them regularly as they progress through their respective careers, and it's very exciting. To say the least.
Yeah, 100%. All right, man. So that'll get us into the 113. We had Jake Stewart of Tupelo taking on Ace McCracken of Saltillo, with Ace McCracken being your 113-pound state champion.
I mean, where do we even begin with this one? I mean, we've seen Jake and Ace wrestle half a dozen times this season, and it's been pretty much Ace all year. And this was probably believe it or not, this was probably their most competitive match. It's probably the best Jake has looked. Jake was in even some potential scoring positions a couple of times, but Ace was just a man on fire this year. It was very clear from the very first duel I saw him in that he's just mentally, physically, technically, he was just operating on a different gear.
Right, because we've seen him, the past, few years. He's been a top guy, but he hadn't been the top guy.
Mm-hmm.
And starting the season, it was like, oh yeah, man, this is gonna be the year, and it's just you just it just quite didn't play out like that. You know what I'm saying? You saw like some signs of concern, not big concern, but little concern throughout the season. But I'm right there with you, man. Like this year from the beginning, like Ace McCracken looked like, I mean, he just any little chink in the armor, he straightened that out, and he was ready to go, man. And it looked like it was his to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, for sure. Now, like I said, Jake Stewart, like that was the best match that that he's given him,
Mm-hmm.
this year for sure. And hey, I'll tell you what, Jake Stewart in that semifinals match,
Yeah, dude, talk about
that
that.
that right there was like I was very very impressed with Jake Stewart in that match right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a battle, and he came out on top, and he had to dig, he had to find some heart, he had to pull out some technique, but he had it in the bag, and that right there was probably the most impressed that I was with Jake Stewart. Like was in that semis final match, like when it mattered, when getting to that finals counted. Hey, he was a dog.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, he made the state finals back to back years, and so I mean, he's demonstrated he's a fantastic competitor. He loves the sport. He's grinding. He's working hard. I know it's his. I firmly believe his time's coming. He's a sophomore. If he just stays working, he has a solid club. He has good coaches. He has the will to be the best. He just needs to keep grinding. He'll get there. He's just running into tough kids. I mean, last year I think it was Todd Brewer, and then this year was Ace McCracken. And
Yep.
so,
I
if he
mean,
just keeps climbing that ladder, he will. I think he will be the top guy here soon.
yeah. I mean, my best advice that I could give him, I know it's unsolicited. Hey, just hit the weights.
Yeah, yeah,
Because from last year and this year, that I mean, that honestly, like that's just what it looked like, man. Like you got the technique. It just looks like they're just a little bit stronger than you, and you'll get in on them, and like they're just as good with their defensive technique as you are with their offensive, but they're a little bit stronger than you, and that's just what it looks like. You know?
yeah. I mean, yeah. And there's no shame in that. I mean, hey, I'm always a proponent of getting jacked.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Go
like
do
ain't
some
no wrong with
squats,
that.
do a couple bench press, maybe some deadlifts. Get those basic strength core lifts in. It'll do wonders for you.
Get them rows in, baby. Get them rows in.
But and then we can't talk about. So yeah, Ace looked fantastic all year. I know I called my shot. Um, I think when we were doing the seeding podcast, I said Ace was going to win it all. Not too surprised, and he earned it. I mean, he worked all last season. He traveled to tournaments, put in the practice hours. So I mean, congratulations, Ace, Jake. Keep on grinding, dude. You're looking fantastic as well. And then I can't talk about this weight class without bringing up Silas Metz and Moskowitz.
Now,
Again, another one of those weight classes where the top four are really solid kids.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Moskowitz looked real good. And, I mean, so did Metz, and that was an interesting play on how that one finished.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
tiebreaker.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, that just lets you know, man. Like that top 4 or 5. Like I said, you could probably even go 5. You can probably even go 6 in that weight class right there. The top 6, you know, be strong, in
Mhm.
my opinion. Right?
So I mean, yeah, that was a great weight class. Congratulations, boys. Good job, Ace. But hey,
Way to represent. But
yeah.
yeah, he was dominant though, man.
Mhm.
Like he was throughout the tournament, throughout the season. Like that's the Ace McCracken that people for the past couple of years have been,
Oh yeah,
had known he was there. You know what I mean?
yeah. He's starting to peak.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's nice to see.
that's right. All right, it's gonna get us into the 120-pound weight class. You had Chase Alspa Van Cleve taking on Wyatt Cole of Lewisburg, with Chase Alspa being your 120-pound state champion and most outstanding boy wrestler of the tournament.
Man, so how much do I want to say? You know, I'll just say it. Listen, if your last name is Allspaw, not just Chase, it's Caden as well. You might be the pound for pound best. I mean, I don't want to be. That's my hot take of this episode. That's my controversial opinion. what I saw on Saturday between those brothers was this is high level wrestling.
Yeah.
This isn't average. This isn't good. This is high level, and they've sharpened their tools. It's clearly what they like. It's clear what they like to do, little techniques, and they have polished it to nice, shiny, sharp perfection. And they utilize their length, their speed, their aggression, and it was really cool to see. And it was very, I mean, it was just domination, frankly. Um, whether you like to hear that or not, I mean, they're just in a league of their own right now. Those two boys, and it was fun. It's fun to watch that in the state of Mississippi. It's cool to see that the state is producing a kid to that level. And like we talked about with Lindsey, Chase, he had 69 matches going to the state tournament, 60 and 9. So he had won 60 matches throughout the course of the season before he even stepped on the first match of the state tournament. And so it's very clear where that domination comes. And actually, the word I want to use is comfort.
Yes.
He looked, and his brother both they looked comfortable. They didn't get razzled. They just looked straight faced, clock in, clock out, another day in the office. We're here to wrestle, and they did, and it was a good show to see. And I mean, what else is there to really say about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean Wyatt Cole. I mean he looked good, all season long, and he really was pushing it, in the state tournament, getting to the finals. But man, Chase Alspaugh just like even when I was watching him, as he ran out to the mat for the finals match, it was like, man, like he was controlling. He does exactly what I was talking about, which both of them do. It's like they're controlling their highs and lows, right? It's like don't get too high, don't get too low, right? Just go out there, stay in the moment, win the exchanges, And when you can slow your mind down to be focusing on just winning the exchanges, like you can control a lot of the herky jerky and the chaos that that other people want to introduce when you're wrestling, right? And and they just looked smooth.
They did, yeah.
Right? They look smooth.
Yeah, everything was clean. Damn.
Yeah, and I mean that's really like the best way that I could describe it is they did a real good job of just the confidence and the competence combined. It was like a calm storm. It was still a storm if you were on the other end of it. You felt that, but it was like a calm storm.
That controlled chaos thing because there was constant. I mean, again, especially on top, just that chest pressure, that constant working from one move to the other. It was great.
Yeah, and working into that cradle, which
I love that series.
Yeah.
It was really pretty to see. I was happy to see that, throw that leg and start utilizing that length.
Yeah, and that's what you're talking about. It's like, man, and he has he's gotten plenty of reps on it throughout the season, but you can tell he's working like that. That is one of his bread and butters, and man, like he has turned that thing into a samurai sword.
Yeah,
he like
folded 1,000 times. Yes, sir.
Yes,
put that work in.
Yes, like that's it, man. Like you can tell he has mastered that craft, and man, couldn't nobody stop it. It's one of those things. It's like it's coming, but you still got to stop it, right? And he's just gotten too good at it right there, and it was just too much for Wyatt Cole. Yeah. But man, Wyatt Cole, like I said, I mean, he had a heck of a tournament, heck of a season.
What grade's he in? Sorry, let me check real quick. Yeah, he's a sophomore, and then Colt. I got to talk about Colton Morrow for a second, junior. This weight class, I just, hey, this just is what it is. It's just my opinion. I just don't think it was that deep. I think obviously Chase separated himself from everyone else. And then even within second below, I think it was Colton Morrow.
I agree.
think Colton Morrow is unanimously the second best kid of this weight class. And no disrespect to Wyatt Cole, but I mean, if you watch that North Half Finals, Colton was in the driver's seat until. And when we talk about this during the girls episode, it's like you don't get lucky in wrestling. Colton got a little sloppy, maybe a little overconfident, and Wyatt Cole capitalized and stuck him. But I mean, up until that point, it was all Colton Morrow's match.
Yep.
And so, but then let's say the quote unquote real final was in that semifinals match. Well, I mean, Chase pinned him in a minute, 47 seconds. Yeah. So, I mean, that just again shows how, I think Colton has separated himself from the pack, but then there's that next level.
Yes.
To which, I mean, I hope Colton, if he puts in more time in the offseason, we can get him to that level.
It's like, hey, like,
But outside of that, I mean, Colton Penn won his consolation finals match in less than 2 minutes. So I mean, again, it's just one of those things where I think the number one is completely competing at a different level. Colton's competing at a different level, and then Cole, he's hanging in there. He's a very solid. I think, and again, I'm not trying to throw shade or nothing. He's a 10th grader. If he keeps grinding, he's going to catch up really quick too. Colton's 10th year to 11th grade year, it was a massive jump. So I expect the same thing from Wyatt Cole. He showed a lot of promise, but I'm just saying, like, um, outside of those three names, I just wasn't seeing it because if those are who we're comparing to, those three kids compared to everyone else, I mean, it wasn't too surprising how the bracket played out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can agree with that. And you're right, man. Colton Morrow, he's one of the ones that I did see him putting in, the summer work or whatever. But it's like, hey, next season starts today,
Yeah,
right? Like you have another season to go through before next season, school season. So like,
sir.
if you want to ensure a different outcome next year, like, might be want to find some mats to go get on today.
Right.
Like that would be my advice. Because that's the theme of it, right? Like that's why I'm wearing this. It's like, look, man, like 35-1 is a dual team, right? They are going out there and wrestling 69, 60 wins going into the state tournament. It's like he had 9 losses too. Like, I mean, he's not invincible, but you got to go out there 69 times to get a record of 60-9.
Right.
Like that's the only way to make it happen. And if you want to compete with that, you better be at least doing that. Otherwise, they're just going to stay ahead, right? So it's like, hey, you've got time. You got 365.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Go get it. Go get it, man. Like if you don't like that, well, don't cry about it. Go do something about it.
Yeah. God bless. That's the truth. Like it's, especially now that I've been coaching for a hot minute, where it's like the kids complain. It's like, well, I didn't see you at all over the summer. Where it's like, I promise you, those Van Cleve kids are grinding 2-3 times a week, maybe more, traveling to every tournament. I remember USA State. Not a whole lot of kids went last year, but I can tell you who was there: Caden and Chase Oswald.
Exactly.
They're doing it. They're competing, and I encourage all my kids to do the same. I encourage every kid to do the same, and it certainly won't be the last time we mention that. I tell you what.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's a universal message. I would say that if you were a baseball player,
yeah,
any sport, it's like, okay, if you don't like the outcome, well, you don't have to wait till next week to start doing something about it. Like, you start today, right? All right. Now to get us into the 126-pound weight class, where you had Caden Alspa of Van Cleve taking on Cecil Collins of St. Martin, with Caden Alspa as your 126-pound state champion.
Again, not to be a bit of a cop-out, but I was pretty much a copy and paste of what I just talked about his brother. Like, smooth, clean. It looked effortless. It was really cool to see. Just like he could probably be those brothers again. I already said they could probably be. You drop them in any state in the South, they could probably be a title contender, or at least a top 5 contender in Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, maybe even in the Midwest. I don't know how they've competed up. Would they compete up there? But again, just different level wrestling. Saw it again. He almost teched Collins in the first period. But I will say this about Mr. Collins: fantastic tournament run, hammer on top.
Yeah.
He was giving Caden a little grief in that second period when he picked top, and I was like, oh, okay, this is where he's strong at. Really heavy, good transitions, really solid technique on top, and 8th grader, Cecil Collins.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that's huge to show all that ability and show that you. He almost rode out Caden for, I think, half the period, maybe a little longer. So to be able to do that against probably one of the best wrestlers in Mississippi history so far, like, you're gonna get there if you just stick with it. You haven't gotten to high school yet, and you're giving him gruff, and and he beat some pretty solid kids along the way as well to get to that state finals match. So, look out for Cecil Collins, on the up and up. And then obviously Caden still has one more year left to get another title. And so he'll probably be the kid to beat next year too. Um, Outside of that, I mean, there's two kids that I want to talk about. I know you want to talk about Spain.
Yeah.
So let me just name drop J.P. Miller out of Center Hill.
Yep.
I think he's a kid who I'm consistently impressed with. Really tough, hard nosed kid, good technique, good positions, and if memory serves,
He reminds me a lot of Shaw Pruitt.
Yeah, just a little sharper. And he's just
intense, man. He is intense when he's out there wrestling.
And Miller is just a sophomore, and so I mean, he leveled up. I was impressed with him last year. He improved. He leveled up this year. I expect that to keep going. And then before I pass it on, obviously I got to just give a shout out to my boys Spence Wigley and Peter Cabral. Just want to give you some love, just to name drop you. But Logan Spain.
Yeah, Logan Spain, man. I'll tell you. I'll be 100% honest. Like the first match of his that I saw at the tournament, I was watching another match, and he wasn't really even on my radar. And then his mom came up right behind me and Ty. was like, "Let's go, Spain!" And it got my attention, right? So I was like, "Okay."
Mercy Shepherd has competition.
Yeah, yes. And so I was like, "Okay, well, let's see Spain. Let's see what she's hollering about." Hey, man, I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kid, man. Like he had some real skill. He brought some real intensity out there, and he was fun to watch, man. He found himself in a couple battles, in a couple positional battles that he had to work through, and but I was impressed with his composure and his technique and his effort throughout the whole tournament. He ended up getting the third place finish, and I feel like rightfully so. I mean, he looked good. Like he was a real good, he was a real good technical wrestler, wrestled tough, and I'm glad I got to see a couple of his matches. So thank you to Mama Spain, or whoever it was that got my attention.
Yeah, no, Spain. I mean, he was always probably one of the leaders on that St. Patrick's team in terms of like ability and just it was a little fun to watch. And then also DeFlippo was really cool to watch. But he moved to Virginia and is having a very successful career in the Virginia scene. But Spain was great to watch. I think this was his last year, and if he wants to continue, he certainly can. He showed a lot of ability to do so, and I enjoyed watching him as well.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Moving on. All right. 132 pounds. We had Quentin Carroll of Van Cleve taking on Justin Whittington of Oak Grove, with Quentin Carroll being your 132-pound state champion.
All right, so there's maybe 3 weight classes where I can say this. This one, and I'm still debating. Let's have an open discourse in the comments, perhaps, on like which one was the toughest. This one was a gauntlet because we got, Quentin Carroll back from injury.
Yes.
They couldn't compete last year. He's back this year. We've missed him, but we have Adoria. He won state last year. We had Todd Brewer. He's a former state champion. So, and Quinn's won a couple state championships. So we got three state champions right there. We had Wesley Russell, one of the top.
He was probably the most improved wrestler of that weight class.
Yeah, he's big guy coming in from the north. And then we have Justin Whittington out of Oak Grove. And so we have 5 really solid kids right there that are really good competitors. And so this is probably one of those weight classes where it's like this might be one of the toughest weight classes to have won.
Yes.
Now with that said, I think Quinn Carroll, just like the All Spas, just like Lindsay, just like his brother Braden, like he's just operating on a different level.
Yeah.
As well. Everything we've said in the past about the other Van Cleve wrestlers is equally applicable to Quentin.
He's the most decorated, even though he missed last year.
Right. I mean, he was on track to be a 6-timer.
Yeah.
And so, again, what's left to say? I mean, impressive stuff. I mean, polished, clean. Clearly, you're getting your reps in. Clearly, you're getting your match work in. A lot of fun to watch. So I'm glad
it was a lot of action,
And so I'm happy to see that he was back in the fold. Happy to see him back on top after coming back from an injury. And congratulations. But I gotta hand it to Whittington, man. He was a pretty low seed coming out of South State, and I don't think that and I love these stories because it's the American classic story of the underdog, where I don't think many people thought that he belonged and he was going to make the finals. Not necessarily he didn't belong in the finals, but that they saw the other names and like, well, he probably won't make the finals. Well, he did, and he wrestled, Todd Brewer in the semis, and he wrestled at such a pace to where he put himself in a position to get that win and get to that finals match. Um, and so I think that's big for him. I think, being just a junior, having another year left, I think that sets him up for some success going into next year. I think but in the same breath, I'll say it's unfortunate how that match played out for Todd. Um, but yeah, he bounced back. He got to that consolation finals match, and then we got Adoria pulled off that third place finish.
Yeah.
And then, so I mean, good job Adoria, good job Brewer bouncing back to get to that consolation finals. Good job Whittington for making the finals, and then of course Wesley Russell. He met up against Edwards. I got to remind myself where he's from of Lewisburg. It's for that 5th and 6th place match. So I mean, with Edwards ultimately winning. Which, hey, that was a rematch of the North Half State Finals.
That's right.
So it's like,
and that's another one of the weight classes, right? Like we were talking about earlier. It could be top 6, right? Like you got a tough top 6 right there.
And you know what, Bird of Corinth, he's one of those kids that I've watched throughout the year.
He was tough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He wrestled he wrestled good this tournament.
He's one of those kids that caught my eye, a few weeks ago, and I had to, Bird. Okay, I'm gonna remember that name, and he wrestles with a lot of intensity.
Yeah.
And hey, that's a lot of what a wrestling match is.
But he's got a lot of good instinctual stuff too. It's like he's not gonna lay there and take the pin. Like he's gonna be bridging and turning into you and trying to build. It's like if you do pin him, it's like you had to earn it.
Oh yeah, and hold on, let me make sure. Hannaford of Purvis.
Oh yeah,
he's another kid where it's like this dude. I mean, he's jacked. He looks like a natural. Wrestled very well. I know the Purvis folks are really proud of that kid. Let me double check. He's in. Looks like he's on an 8th grader as well. So I mean, this weight class, man. Like I said, those top 8 kids. I mean, they're all really talented. A lot of promise. I mean, I think Quentin is the clear leader of the pack and will probably remain so. But really, if you placed in that bracket, you're pretty solid.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
So 132, I mean, that's probably easily in the discussion of hardest bracket in the tournament this past weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And hey, and Whittington, man, like even in the finals match, like he had some success, against Carroll. I saw him doing some good things. Like he was doing real good in the hand fighting, especially early on. Man, he got in on a fireman at one time. He didn't, it was right there at the out of bounds, right? So he shot in and it got called off. But hey, he had some moments where it was like, okay, like you could score some points, right? Like if there was a little bit more awareness, mat awareness, clock awareness, certain things like that. But Quentin Carroll, man, like he looked like he was in cruise control, man.
Yeah.
Like he really did. Like he stayed super active. But again, it was like the same as before. He looked smooth, right? Like that. I can't speak about that enough. It's like, man, when you're confident and calm, it's like it looks smooth and like it's fun to watch, right? It's good on the eyes.
Yeah.
It's good on the eyes. Because sometimes, man, when they break out old Joe Deere's favorite move at front headlock, it don't look too pretty.
Yeah.
Some of them look real pretty, right? If you snap a good one and you get you get the feet whipping around, that looks cool. Sometimes it don't look that good.
Yeah, no. But 132 is a great weight class. Congratulations, boys. But I mean, I'm pretty excited to talk about this next weight class.
Yeah, 138 pounds. We had Heisman Murphy of Ocean Springs taking on Gage Hitt of Lewisburg, with Heisman Murphy being your 138-pound state champion.
I tell you what, I feel like this was a long time coming for Heisman. I follow a little tertiary. I mean, I chat with his dad from time to time. I see what his dad posting, what Heisman's up to, and that kid clearly, this is, Rudis is this phrase, it's a way of life, and he clearly emulates that. I mean, he's been training ever since last year's state tournament. I love those stories where it's like, I want to win. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I mean, he's literally traveled internationally to train with the best, to get the skills he needs to get to be successful. And he did. He made it happen. And I'm not going to lie, I got a little in my feels seeing him run past everyone to jump into his dad's arms.
Yeah.
That was a really beautiful moment. And it's, those storylines is what you like to see in this sport. And so, and Heisman looked solid. I mean, he kind of controlled the pace, but Gage Hitt, I think, really took the fight to him.
I was gonna say, give a lot of credit to Gage Hitt. But he's another one. He put in a ton of work. Over the summer, and so it was no surprise to me that he was in the finals right there. And this was a matchup that I knew it was always a possibility to start the tournament, and I'm glad we got to see it. It wasn't one way traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Gage found some success, Heisman found some success, and just Heisman just found more success.
Right.
That's all it ended. But I mean, they put on a good scrap. It was a good go, and both represented themselves well.
Yeah, certainly Gage made him earn it.
Absolutely,
that's for sure. And he was in a few positions to win it too. I mean, don't get me wrong. And I think Gage has another year left. I mean, he's back-to-back finalist now, and I don't see why he can't make the finals again next year and win it. I love the Hitt family. I love the Hitt boys. They work so freaking hard to be good. And I think another year. And again, I'm so thrilled. He's one of those kids where it's just like, I remember first year it was a lot of trying, like what I call catch wrestling. I mean, there's the catch wrestling, but then there's like this catch wrestling where it's like, I'm just going to try and reach back and roll. Or I'm just going to try and grab you and roll. His repertoire of technique has exploded. His movement has improved quite a bit, and he's looking like a wrestler.
Yeah.
And so I'm so proud of just seeing his development over the years and what he's been able to put together, and I just know he's going to keep climbing. And so, congrats. I mean, and he beat some tough kids to get there. I mean, and then he had, fall major. He had a barn burner with Burroughs of St. Patrick.
That was a really good match.
And so, I mean, he's one of those kids where it's like, how can you not root for him?
Right.
He's such a sweet kid, such a good kid, and then he's just a competitor and a fighter, and he wants it.
Absolutely.
So, those two kids I enjoy a lot. And I've heard nothing. I don't know Heisman too well, and I don't think we've ever had a conversation. But from his reputation precedes himself. I've heard nothing but great things about him. I know he comes from a good family, and so, it's one of those things where it's like, I'll let it out. I want to Gage to win. He's one of my boys. I respect and admire him a lot. But if we are to lose to somebody, hey, Heisman's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a kid where it's like, hey, I can be.
He earned it too.
He earned it too. I'm happy for him. That's the kid I don't mind losing to, because he's easy to root for as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. All right, and that's going to get us into 144 pounds, right? Had Colton Gilbert of Van Cleve taking on Ian Shepard of DeSoto Central, with Ian Shepard being your 144-pound state champion. All right.
Where to even begin, dude?
All right, man. Hey.
Yeah, take the lead here.
I'll sit here. I'll say, man, like this was a good match early on, right? It was a good match, and they had a lot of back and forth. But then Ian started winning more of the exchanges.
Yeah.
Right, and he started, using that Ian Shepard grit and go for it. Technique is what I say. It's just grit and go for it. It's like he found himself in a couple positions where it was just like he just had to power that hip in a little bit and then just go for it, right? Kick the legs over, cartwheel, over the back, do what you needed to do to create that scramble. Never conceding, on the shot, always being very aware of, Where am I gonna get called the takedown? Where am I gonna where are we still gonna be neutral, right? And fighting for that neutral position. Like it was those little details in those exchanges that allowed Ian Shepard to pull ahead on this one.
So I'm gonna work backwards. I just want to give a few shout outs. Shout out to Tony Brewer. Um, you're just a kid who I just saw improvement from last season to this season. So I always like to give a shout out to that. I think you ran into some more buzzsaws this year at the state tournament. So I don't think your placement reflects the improvement that I saw. Clearly you're doing something and it's working. And let me double check. So, and yeah, you got another year left, buddy. And so take advantage of the off season. I think we'll see you continue your improvement. Obviously, Jericho Johnson of St. Pat's, for coming back for that consolation finals win after losing to Gilbert. So I mean, hey, that's huge. It's always tough, and I guess this is a nice moment to go on a little tangent. Like, it's really admirable to face heartbreak. Watch your dreams get shattered, and you have, and like what I tell my kids, it's like you have two options because you're probably having a lot of negative thoughts right now. It's you just had the worst loss of your season. You're kind of spiraling a little bit, and then you can either get lost in those thoughts, loop those thoughts, and trap yourself in a negative prison, slam the door on your own cell, and just kind of be in your sad boy, sad girl space. Or you can whip that door open, shoulders back, walk forward, shelf it. I'm not saying don't feel things, don't get emotional about it later, but the mission's not done. And I tell you what, third place is going to feel a lot better than seventh place.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
So I always think it's a lovely story to you have that heartbreak moment and then you just put it on the shelf. Mission's not done. Wrestle back. You get that third's your new first, and you make it happen. So good job, Jericho. Good job, Tony. And then I also just want to give French Camp some love. Skidmore, Josiah Skidmore at French Camp. I mean, he finished, on the podium in 8th place, but he's just a kid who I just saw. Again, I want to shout out just the effort from last year to this year. He's definitely cleaned some of his techniques up. I just saw him wrestle like a madman. Like he wanted it. And I admire when wrestlers go out there, just forget it. I'm throwing care to the wind. I want to compete. I want to get these wins. And I saw that a lot from him this year. And so I just thought that was cool. And then Gilbert, and this applies to all the Van Cleve kids because we went and interviewed them last year.
Yeah.
And they were nothing but polite, and I can see what kind of mentality that the coaching staff puts on them because I remember if memory serves me, Gilbert was one of those kids where it's like, I'm going to beat Trip Allen in the state finals.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm going to make the state finals. I'm going to win, and I'm going to beat him. And unfortunately, he didn't make the finals, but he wrestled back and got third, if I remember correctly. But it's clear that mentality remained the same.
Yeah.
It's very clear that he's like, I'm winning this tournament because he didn't win South State, but he beat the guy who won South State to get to that finals match, and he gave Ian probably one of the toughest matches of the year for him.
Oh, absolutely.
And then there's many times where he was in a position to catch his momentum, and so I mean it was a really great match. That he wrestled, and he has another year left. And I have every belief that with the environment that he's in, with the mentality that he has, he'll do great things next year as well. With that said, I was not worried for 1 second that Ian wasn't going to win this match. Ian, from the moment that he was disqualified from last year, was thinking about how he was going to win it this year, and there wasn't a doubt in my mind that he was not going to come into this year and win that state title. And, I can feel it in my chest right now. We talk about special moments. I mean, that was a special moment for me, seeing just how much he put in, how much work he put in, what contributions he gave to his own team at DeSoto Central and his peers and his friends, and the sacrifices that he did to get the best training that he needed to set himself up for success. I mean, I talk about a lot of the kids, and we talked about this in earlier episodes, I think in the summer, where it's like there are some days where it's just like, oh, there's a tournament this week and who wants to compete?
Well,
Ian Shepard's the only one who wants to go.
Well, what came into my
Yeah.
mind was whenever you mentioned that, that Mississippi USA wrestling tournament, you're like not a lot of people was there, but guess who was there?
Ian Shepard was there.
Ian Shepard was there, right?
There was a Christian Brothers tournament. I was like, hey, who wants to go to this? There's one Mississippi kid at it, Ian Shepard,
right?
And so he was so hungry. He wanted it so bad, and he's also, he's fun to watch. He's a great wrestler, a lot of raw talent, good kid who I can't say enough nice things about. So it was a special moment to see him get his. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I was very happy about that. And I mean, and it was unfortunate, the after the mat antics. I don't really condone that type of behavior. But at the state finals, and especially, and I'm bringing this up because I kind of want to address something. This season was the worst season when it came to social media. I don't really have, I don't spend my life doom scrolling TikTok or Instagram, but I have parents and kids who love to reel me in and show me screenshots and comments about who's saying what and this, that, and the other thing. And they like to spill the tea on what a fan said in the stands or what have you. And this was easily the worst year so far. The TikTok posts, the TikTok accounts whose only purpose is to bring people down and talk smack and to try and instigate problems. And it really kind of made me sad throughout the course of the year. And I know that some people argue like, oh, it makes things interesting. It's all jokes. It's all love. I mean, we're just trying to create rivalries and bring attention to it. And, I'm old school with that. I mean, I think the sport is for gentlemen and ladies and, settle it on the mat and all that stuff. And so I know people were pearl clutching, when Ian did his little antics, but it's like, so then that brings me to my next thing is don't intentionally set yourself up as the villain. Don't intentionally talk smack and run your mouth and boo and your coaches saying things in the corner during the match and not expect a kid, especially a kid like Ian Shepard, not to react.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, you can, hey, be the villain, be the heel. That's great. But then when you got some attitude coming your way, don't clutch your pearls.
You got to be able to take it.
And like, hey, like I said, I'm very familiar with that. Listen, I Cody Gilbert and I were talking about, like, when we wrestled Lewisburg, all I yell is like, hey, watch the roll. That's all they want to do. When I wrestled Starkville, it's like all they want to do is headlocks. I mean, hey, I'm not innocent either by any means. But when kids refuse to shake my hand, or when I get comments, or when people like want to talk smack, it's like anytime I feel some type of way about it, it's like, oh no, you earned that.
Yeah.
You earned that, Joel. Like, calm down. Like, hey, you earned that. So I mean, with the whole like wanting to disqualify him, the boos, the pearl clutching, I mean, I just thought that was silly, and that wasn't even like and that's most were directed at the fan base than anything. Like, I think Dave handled it in stride and all that good stuff. But I just, like I said, it's not. You shouldn't be all too surprised if something like that happens when you yourself have intentionally made yourself the villain, or your kids go on internet, spend 3 or 4 months just talking smack. Like, what'd you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's my whole thing is, I just, I don't know. I come from, like the MMA world. Yeah. And so, big fan of Nick Diaz right here, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, I don't really have a problem with any of it, on either side, right? I don't have a problem with people, saying, with the stance of, hey, man, we're just trying to create some rivalries, cause a little bit of this or whatever. It's like, cool, I'm good with it. I'm also good with Ian Shepard celebrating however he feels like he wants to celebrate after winning the state championship. I'm okay with that as well, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not a prude for either or. Like, me, I'm more of like hey, like, say what's on your chest and then go stand on it, right? Hey, if you're willing to go out there and back it up, fine. Don't cry when it don't go your way, or if it doesn't go your way, right? It's like, you had the same 6 minutes to get it done as he did. It is what it is, right? The same way you could have either said or not said that on social media. Either way, like, hey, I'm okay with that. But if you're going to go out there and you're going to step out, if you're going to go out there in them waters and swim with the sharks, certain things happen when you swim with sharks, man. Yeah. And like it is what it is. Like, you can't be crying about it. And that's my view on all that. But it's like, I didn't grow up with, like you're old school, right? Like you grew up in,
Yeah.
in a wrestling state, in that wrestling culture, and
Mhm.
all that. I didn't, man. I grew up street fighting and, and then cage fighting.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm like, okay, like that's all right. If he's willing to say that and then go out there and give you an opportunity to bust his tail for saying it, then I don't see a problem with it.
And don't get me wrong, that it's everywhere. People, there's some celebrations and there's some rivalries and there's some emotions and there's always some words that get exchanged. I get that it happens, um, and it is what it is. Like I said, I do not blame Ian Shepherd for reacting that way, especially um, with how I know him. And again, I want to make it abundantly clear, I don't condone that behavior, and I would have rather him just got up, shake his hand, shake hands, maybe do a little fist bump. That's cool. Um, but I'm certainly not going to condemn him for what happened.
Yeah, no.
Like it's just you made your bed.
No, and like and now that like I know the rules and I know the decorum of wrestling, I'm like, okay, hey bro, just go win. Right?
Yeah.
Like don't even risk it because it is they can call you that. They do have the ability to do this. That is an option on their side if you choose to do that. So it's like, how do you want to handle it? You can keep your composure and then walk 10 feet off the mat and then do whatever you want to do. You want to throw your headgear, go ahead, throw it. Don't matter, right? Like, but if you want to do it 10 feet prior, there's consequences that there's potential consequences that can come with that. And so, hey man, you do whatever you're willing to handle, right? If you understand that, hey, if I do this while I'm still standing on this mat, this is the consequences that could happen. Versus if I just walk off the mat and do it, then a lot of that goes away, right? But if you're willing to step out there and that's the time you want to do it, just understand that like there are consequences that can come with that, right?
Right.
And that's how I would look at it. Like I said, I'm a fan of, hey, start some heat, right? I don't care, but go back it up. Like I don't. What I don't want is like you'd be talking a bunch of crap about like a match you can't get, right? Like that you'll see that in fighting a lot, right? Like you'll see fighters, not in the same weight class, or it's like, or like this person already has a fight booked, and so then this person will be calling them out while they have a fight booked. But then as soon as they don't, and they're like, "Hey, where are you at?" It's like, "Oh, they ain't got nothing to say then, right?"
Yeah, which I tell you what, there was some of that this year too.
Exactly,
Like,
right? It's like you calling for a match you can't get, right? That's not it, right?
Yeah, and so to wrap that up in a bow, like, listen, I think you can't you can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle, or you can't put the genie back in the lamp. However, whatever old saying you want to say, but it's just I don't know. I'm not too happy with the 6 Barstool accounts on TikTok and the 5 Instagram accounts who sold for. I do want to shout out. There was one great content account that actually was a positive influence that I thought this year that creeped up in it. The SIP Wrestling Rankings Instagram account, still a mystery who runs it. I have some guesses, but there was quality content. It's clear that hey, there's some room for improvement in terms of like the information that they get, but there was good graphics. It was just business where it's like, this is who I think. These a couple of my reasons discussed in the comments. There was nothing ever negative or putting anybody down, and it was just fun. Just like the rankings and the predictions and all that stuff. Like that's meant to just stimulate conversation. And then it was also a good resource for me as a coach because he also posted results too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, these two teams wrestled. This is what was the team score. It's like, oh, that was great. So I liked that account. Some of the other ones were nuts. But anyway, like I said, say what you want. That's how I feel about the situation. Ultimately, Ian Shepherd's a state champion. You can't take that away from him. And Colton Gilbert, yours is coming. I think you'll be my way, way, way too early predicted state champ next year.
I could see that.
I think from what I saw and from what I know about him, I think it's his, especially and I'm not saying this the Tripp's graduating, Ian's graduating. If he stays within that 44, 57 range, Luke Hale, Enoch Clarity's graduating, Lucas Edwards graduating. So it's like if you stay in that middle range, like I think it's his for the taking.
Yeah.
So best of luck to you. Shout out to Ian. And hey, maybe let's just control our posting a little bit. That'd be really super cool. But anyway, 150.
150. Okay, we had Kyle Brewer of Picayune taking on Trip Nowlin of Saltillo, with Trip Nowlin being your 150-pound state champion.
So I'm gonna keep it real, and I wish I had my crow with me because this seems like a crow eating moment. My first instinct was this wasn't that competitive of a weight class, but as I saw it play out on Friday, and as I look at the bracket right now, I realized that this was actually a really competitive bracket, really tough bracket. It's just Trip Nowlin is just another one of those kids who's just wrestling at a different level.
Yeah.
It was definitely his to lose. Um, but before I kind of talk about the finals match, I kind of want to again like work backwards because I think first let me start with this. The kid I was impressed with the most was probably Bo Dixon out of George County. Um, I know it's a first year program. I have no idea what his background is or if he's just stepped on the mat for the first time, but he looks really solid. He's very athletic, good positioning. I have to imagine he has some experience. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just a natural. But
It's like what I tell you about George County,
but,
though, Joe.
but just no, just he wasn't just athletic. Just the way he was moving, the timing of his moves.
It was kind of like Lauren Morris.
Yeah, it was very.
It's like she hadn't been wrestling that long, but it's like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
when
true.
you have someone who's that coachable and that, they bring those intangibles, like you can make them look like a real good wrestler.
So yeah, and he's a freshman, so he might be a big name coming up. So I was really impressed with him. I thought he had a great tournament. He's someone that stood out to me the most. But then, of course, you got Carson Hale. He's a really solid kid. Another kid who has, and everyone should know how I feel about Carson. I think he's extremely talented, and I think if he keeps grinding, he's going to keep climbing. Um, Another kid I was impressed with was, let me get his first name. Sorry. Mason Wilson out of Long Beach.
Yeah.
He's one of those kids. I was trying to think of an analogy for this. It's like I love the pottery wheel analogy, but the way he's at, it's like you took a wad of clay, you threw it on the wheel, and now it's stuck to the wheel and it's ready to get worked on. Like, and some kids, they're still just a piece of clay sitting in a bucket that hasn't been put on the wheel yet. He's clearly super strong, very athletic. He takes it to his opponents. It's time to get molded now.
Right.
And once he starts, let me just double check, and he's a sophomore this year. So if he can start getting worked on, start polishing up things, cleaning everything up, I think he might be a threat just because of just what I saw with his athleticism and his just the way he wrestled. Anyway, he stuck out to me. Dixon stuck out to me. I got to give a shout out to my boy Ethan Urquhart of Oxford. He didn't have the tournament he wanted, but he went from, to my understanding, from like the equivalent to like a JV All-Star or a JV Demon last year to now he got on the podium, third place North half, placed at this weight class that's deep and tough. Like I said, I always like to give shout outs to kids that I saw a lot of improvement from. And I got to admire his work ethic and his commitment to the sport. And then another kid, I know I'm rambling, guys, bear with me. Another kid I want to talk about is Corey Williams, Center Hills boy.
Yeah. BJ Williams, ain't it?
No, I think it's Corey.
Is it?
Yep, Corey Williams.
Okay, well, I know BJ Williams. Sorry.
I hate that he's a senior because he is peaking right now.
Right.
He looked really good, solid ties, good stands, great shots, very strong. I was impressed with him all year.
Yeah. He had a lot of good, solid, foundational things. Only thing I'd say is sometimes, he would kind of get frozen with the hand fighting, and it's like if he would, because he's really good at the hand fight and getting control of the wrist. It's like, but I'd like to see him pull the trigger a little quicker, and start getting in on. He could use that to lead into something better. And it's like, hey man, if you get an opportunity to go wrestle at the next level or whatever, even if you just get into like the grappling world, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. I mean, that's still a very effective thing. But I would just my recommendation would be when you get that and you get that good control, it's like start working off of it,
Mhm.
right?
So yeah, so I mean, again, this weight class is really it's actually ended up being pretty competitive. I do also want to give a shout out. I was kind of impressed with Chase Adams out of West Harrison.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't.
he
Yeah,
looked good, man. He was
he
tough.
got seventh, so he did place. He also looked like a great first year kid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. And Wes Harrison was one of them. You know, they didn't have a ton of kids there, but the ones that they had, you know, it's kind of like a MSMS situation. It's like the kids that they did bring, man, they were tough. They had, you know, they had some skill, you know, and they had some athleticism, and you know, they went out there and they wrestled hard and they looked good, man.
They really did, and also cool singlets. I like the orange and green.
Yeah,
I think
like the Miami Hurricanes.
I think that looks tight, and they have a cool logo, so that's dope. So yeah, so the West Harrison has some kids that stuck out, especially in that 150 weight class, as well as George County, and so they're welcome additions into the fold for sure. But then that brings me to Kyle Brewer, which he is Kyle Brewer's son.
He is the father.
You know, we have a Brewer who's finally related to the Coach Brewer. You know what, man? I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. You know, when I found out the day after that was his first year wrestling, I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, no, me either.
He is clearly a natural at the sport. He looked great. Heck of a season. First year, you win South State, you get to the state finals, and you give one of our better products um, a really tough match and a match that he almost won.
Well,
You know,
well, he was the only wrestler in the past two state tournaments to score an offensive point on Trip Nowlin.
yeah,
Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, like Kyle Brewer, first year wrestling, right? Like to me, he was that impressive. Like he was that impressive. I mean, and he wasn't intimidated by the moment.
no,
He went out there and I mean, and he fought hard, man. And but he did a lot of really good things, you know, to not let Trip Nowlin run the score up on you. You
Yeah.
know, you had to be doing something. You had to be giving him something to think about, right? Like he wasn't just going out there and blowing through him. Which I will say, you know, Trip seemed to have not been in the moment as much as you know you'd have liked him to be in. But hey, that ain't got nothing to do with Kyle,
right,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Like it ain't got nothing to do with him, right?
Yeah.
Like that's on you, bro. Like this is the state finals. Like you either show up or you don't show up, right? And but Kyle did an excellent job of battling, staying in the fight, man, all the way to the end. And I was very very impressed with him.
Oh yeah, and what makes it even better is that Kyle is a freshman, so I mean he has three more shots, and I mean I wouldn't be surprised if he runs the room the next 3 years.
Yeah,
Like he just showed me that much potential this year, and I mean, and especially I know his dad's a quality coach. I know Picayune is a quality program. They do what you need to gets done. So I mean, I expect Kyle Brewer to be a big name.
yeah. I mean, just I'm gonna hats off to Coach Kyle Brewer. It's like okay, Picayune, 2 year team, but I mean, geez, man, they've got multiple state champions, right? And but I mean, the quality from top to bottom, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. You could tell he's doing all the right things. He's getting them the off season wrestling. He's got it figured out how to get the most out of his wrestlers in season. Does that make sense? It's like every time I see them, like they don't look burnout. They
Right.
don't look, they don't look like they're not having fun. Like every single one of them, like wants to go out there represent, that maroon tide. They want to
Yeah.
represent their coach well, and he's created a very, very strong Christian culture down there. You know what I mean? And they all respond to it very well.
And they probably have some of the coolest singlets.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Roll Tide singlet. That's dope. Their championship singlets. I mean, those are so sick.
Those are clean.
Those
They
are
were
so
clean.
sick. I love them. They look good. I gotta give props to that too. Also, I saw Mosley come back. He was dripped out. He had dope shoes. Happy to see him back in the fray. And Picayune's one of those teams where they're easy to like too. Coach
Yeah.
Kyle Brewer is so likable. Their kids are good kids, and any kind of teasing they do is usually in good spirits.
Right.
So I enjoy Picayune as a team, and they're an easy group of kids to root for. I tell you what. But that brings us to Trip Nowlin. Oof,
Well, on the flip side of that, Kyle Brewer, pat on the back of like, hey man, you're the only person in the last two state tournaments to score an offensive point. It's like Trip Nowlin, you've went two state tournaments almost incomplete without giving up an offensive point. Like dominant. You know what I mean? Dominant. And that kid, I mean, I have a video on my phone from last year, the Thursday before going down for the state tournament. He's in the gym. I've mopped up the mats all the way around him. I'm cutting the lights off on him, and he's still back there shooting by himself. Like that's a kid that has put in the work. Without a doubt.
Oh yeah, it was a good moment to witness. I've talked endlessly about my relationship with Trip Nowlin, and just seeing him compete. This year there's a lot of adversity that he went through, and things were looking a little questionable early in that season. But then he was able to rally back, focus, and deliver when it mattered the most. And it looked like the old Trip Nowlin during that state tournament. And he just kind of found a pace he wanted to wrestle at in that finals match, and he stuck with that pace. And he was able to get out of danger when he was put in danger, and he was able to wrestle how he wanted to wrestle throughout that match and get his second title. And he had a fantastic career. I think again he's just going to be in the conversation of great Mississippi wrestling products, and it was great to see. I think I speak for the whole community. At least I would hope the community can appreciate the shows that he had put on, especially last season. Just takedown clinics. Because and I'm not just gassing him up. Objectively speaking, just like the All Spas and the Carrolls and Lindsay and all these other great wrestlers that we have, his technique was sharp.
He tech fought his way through the tournament without giving up an offensive point last year.
Right.
I know that they gave like the most outstanding. I believe Caden Hill got it last year, but man, like that was really hard for me to be like, hold on now.
Yeah.
Like he was completely dominant and like never once was in trouble.
Right.
Not even close to being in trouble last year. Like that right there, was to me was like probably one of the best tournament performances I've seen.
Yeah, and this was a tough bracket, and it was, he had a bye, tech fall, pin, and then 8-5 decision, and those 5 points came by when he got cradled up, and so. It was a great career, great match. I think he'll be missed, and I think he'll be under bigger and better things. But yeah, this 150 bracket was tough, and so hey, if you placed in this bracket, you're a quality wrestler, and those who still have time left, hey, I think you're gonna be in contention for a good title run for the next season.
Oh, absolutely. All right, and that's gonna get us into the 157 pounds. We had Lucas Edwards from Lewisburg and Enoch Clarity of MSMS, with Enoch Clarity being your 157-pound state champion. Joe, I'm going to say it from the rip. I was not expecting this finals matchup. I just wasn't. On paper, I knew that both of these young men had a tall order to get through to get to this point. But they did.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo, young man. Bravo. Yeah. Like, hey, that's what I'm talking about, right? Look, Enoch Clarity, that's the best Enoch Clarity I've seen, right? I have not seen Enoch Clarity wrestle better, ever, right? That match with Luke Hale, man, he come out there. First off, you could tell he was very confident, right? Like, because he started taking it to Luke. And then he started finding some success. And then when he started finding that success, man, unfortunately for Luke, it started snowballing. And Clarity was just rolling and just kept getting the points and kept keeping that gap. And, he looked dominant, man. Like, he really did. Like this was the best Enoch Clarity that I've ever seen on the day that it mattered. You know what I mean?
Right, man, and I'll echo that. My money was always on my boy Luke. I thought that he was gonna be much more difficult than last season, but I thought that he was gonna win his second title. But just like I told Clarity Saturday night, I mean, hey, when we interviewed him, he said, "I'm winning state this year,"
He did.
and he did. He
And
made
so
it
did Nina
happen.
Weinstein, you know?
And well, I mean, and it just again, it's just another case in point of what we talk about a lot, where it's like he manifested it. He said he was going to do it. He trained his butt off since last year, put in all the work he needed to do. And I know Coach Coover over at Math and Science, he helped him put through the work and prepare him and prepare the strategy that he needed to get done to against the kids he was going to wrestle, and it paid off. And that finals match was a testament to it. He stayed cool in dangerous situations, and then he found his moment, capitalized, and got the pin. So I mean, that was great work by Enoch. And I'm really proud of Luke for facing that adversity. And hey, you know what? That's an opponent, just like we've talked about before. You know, that's an opponent that's like, hey, if we were going to lose to anybody, Enoch's a wonderful person, wonderful athlete, wonderful kid. He's going to do great things.
He earned it too.
He did. And I can be happy. I'm very excited for him for what he did, and I'm proud of Luke for wrestling back after that adversity to get that third and fourth place match.
Right. It's like that.
Get that third place finish. But I'm also, shout out to Lucas Edwards. He took out the number 1 seed.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I mean, he had a heck of a tournament too, man. Like he was wrestling above his weight class, if that makes sense.
And it's unfortunate that Yaman missed weight for the second day, and we didn't see that match in the semifinals. But I tell you what, I mean, I was impressed with Edwards. In the past, he usually kind of wrestles a little conservatively. Likes to slow the pace down and take his shots when he feels like he can score. But as soon as that whistle blew, he took it to right away. Like he was ready for that moment, and it was very exciting. And like I said, he put Enoch in some dangerous situations several times before he ended up getting caught. And so it's just one of those things where you showed that you have the tools to work with. You just need to polish it out a little bit more. And Edwards is one of those kids. He's going to graduate, but if he wanted to keep his career going, he easily could.
And this is one of the weight classes that's wide open, right? Because Luke Hale, Enoch Clarity, Lucas Edwards. What about Yaman?
Pretty sure, yeah, junior.
Okay, so Yaman will probably be the heavy favorite for this one because I mean the pack's kind of clearing itself out by age. They're all graduating, and so this will be one to keep an eye on next year. But if Yaman is returning, like I would say, he'd probably be at the top of that heap for this weight class.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've said it a number of times. I'll say it again. Yaman just keeps improving. I mean, from when I first saw him till now, I mean, he was one of the favorites to at least make the finals. And so, I mean, tremendous improvement. He's doing all the right things. I know he's a hard worker. It's just one of those unfortunate things that I guess he just wasn't ready for to make weight for, a 2-day tournament. And it's sad. It's unfortunate. But, hey, these are just lessons to learn.
Hey, and that's why, but, that's part of it, right? And it's like like it's where like Lucas Edwards, it's like, hey man, like he stayed hungry, he made the weight, he did what he needed to do, and it's like, yeah, as unfortunate as it may be, it's like that wasn't something that wasn't controllable either, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I mean,
right? That wasn't something that was like, oh, it's some freak accident.
Yeah.
No. It's like, hey, man, like, lessons learned. Maybe it's going to make you want it more next year. Maybe next year on that Friday night, you're going to remember that, and you're going to be like, man, forget eating that food. Right? I can be hungry for a little bit longer. It is what it is.
And also, I mean, it's just, again, those 2-day tournaments are tough because you're so used to weigh-ins are done. I don't have to make weight till next week. I'm just going to drink. I'm just going to eat, whatever, throw care to the wind. Well, it's like, well, now you got to weigh in tomorrow. So don't put on 6 pounds.
That's right.
And then realize, well, I got to cut, 4 or 5 pounds that night before tomorrow, especially with how late we got out.
That's right.
We didn't get back to the hotel until almost 10 p.m.
That's right.
And so it's like, how do you expect to cut any extensive weight? And, oh, man. So, fortunately.
Go take a bath and go to bed.
Right. So it's my gosh.
That's the best advice I could give you.
So I'm just getting flashbacks of my own kids where it's just like, literally just go upstairs, go to bed. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
And then I go down to the lobby, and sure enough, who do I see? Oh, man, yeah, I came unglued for a little bit. What did I say? Get back up there. But, but again, it was a great. Edwards had a great career, great season. He earned every victory he got. He really came into his own this season, I think. Clarity is a. I mean, when it comes to most outstanding wrestler, that's a tough one. I'm usually a sucker for narratives for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, I know some people are stats people, where it's like who had the most shots, pins, tech falls, or they want to just see their team win. I'm usually a guy who had the best storyline, which champion had the best tale to tell, and that's usually where I'm fall in line. Who is most outstanding in my opinion, and so it's like he beat, and I think Luke Hale is part of that pound for pound discussion. And so he beat Luke Hale, and just from and then we heard his story, and it's like, that's pretty outstanding to me.
And I mean, and I would have to say that was probably like the upset of the season, right? Like if you,
I was thinking that too,
like if you look
like-
at like who each of these wrestlers had to go against in the semifinals and the adverse, like what they had to do to get there, and it wasn't even like one of them ones where it was like, oh man, like it was a competitive match, and and he got a turn at the last minute and boom and quick pin, with 3 seconds left. No, like he went out there and handled business. Like he was in control every single match. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he started behind in every match. I think he scored first and stayed ahead in every single match, And I mean, that right there is impressive to me, especially when you had to go through last year's state champion to do it.
Yeah.
Like I just think, man, that was probably the performance of the tournament for me was Enoch Clary.
Right, especially when we were talking with him, he was talking about how, like, these same guys, Yaman and Lucas Edwards, and he was talking about how they gave him grief all last season, and so it's crazy to, like, these are all the kids you've already wrestled, and then here you are again, and you showing how much you leveled up.
Yes.
And so, like I said, I'm a sucker for a good story, and I think that's a great story, and so, um, that's a bracket that sticks out to me. But regardless, everyone else competed very well. Like I said, good job on Lucas Edwards getting those finals matches. I'm proud of you, Luke, for battling back for third. I know the best is yet to come for him. But all around, I mean, solid turnout in that weight class.
Absolutely. All right, and that'll get us to 165 pounds. We had Garvin Leo of St. Andrews taking on Clayton Jacobs of Lewisburg, with Garvin Leo being your 165-pound state champion.
This was an interesting one, man. Do you have any initial thoughts that jump out to you?
I mean, my initial thoughts was like, "Hey, this was a good go for both of these gentlemen, right? Like it was kind of the same thing. Like Garvin, he picked up a couple takedowns and got some points, but Clayton Jacobs, like if you watch the match, it's like he had Leo on his heels the whole third period. Like he was trying to score, like he was trying to get points back. But Leo just, he kept doing enough, to stay ahead.
I mean, his counters were so on point.
Yeah.
I mean, he lightning fast, very cat-like, and then he knows how to distribute his weight, just make him feel it.
Yep.
So every time Jacobs took a shot, he anticipated it, was already halfway around him before he even hit his knee.
Right.
And so that what I thought was really impressive. More so, like, in history's past, like Garvin, I just like, oh, that's the kid who likes to throw a beautiful headlock. He's one of those kids where it's like, I'm not a big fan of the head and arm, but like his is a headlock.
Yeah.
Where it's like the timing of it, the intensity of it, it was always pretty when he did it. Now he's evolved a little bit more, and so that's cool that he has multiple moves in his pocket. And also, we always have to point this out. I do a lot of off-season training. I do the off-season circuit. We go to what tournaments are available, and who I see a lot of the time, I see Chris Struckner with Garvin Leo.
Yeah.
And so Garvin, he earned this for sure. This was a year in the making. He has now established himself as a dominant wrestler in the field. He has another year left. I expect him to probably come back even better,
right
more
there,
impressive.
Yeah.
but this weight class was really tough too. I mean, we have four really really tough kids. Obviously you have Garvin Leo and we had Clayton Jacobs, but we had Eli Sheffield and Parker Bradley, state champion and state runner up. You know,
Yeah,
um,
and honestly, I'm gonna speak honestly. They those two, their performances at the state tournament were a little underwhelming, right? They were. I mean, I had a lot of high expectations for both of them, and man, they first off, Eli Sheffield, excuse me. I mean, he got caught early in one of his matches, with a quick pin, and but then Bradley, you've seen him let himself get behind in some matches this year, and he was able to come back and get the win and do that, and I mean it just kind of caught up to him in the tournament this year, right? And I don't know, man. They were just a little bit underwhelming, you know. I figured, with the state tournament and what I've seen in the past, I figured I was going to see a little more intensity. And I'm not saying it wasn't in their heart. I just didn't really see it on the mat.
Now, I did not see those semifinal matches. I see that Leo got the pin in 30 seconds. I mean, like I said, he's a big move sensation. So, I mean, I'm just going to guess.
That's what happened.
He hit him with a nice big move.
That's what happened.
Um,
And stuck it,
Yeah.
and Eli was stuck.
and then I see Jacobs beat Bradley by 19-7. So it sounds like it was a one-sided match. But I tell you, but with that said, man, their Sheffield and Bradley's consolation finals match was, my biggest criticism to Sheffield, and I've told him this to his face, is like you wrestle really conservatively. You have a really good shot. I like to see you open up more, let it fly a little bit, and I mean that was that match.
Yeah, and I mean, I said it on the stream as well. During the semifinals, I was like, man, he just has a style that he can find himself in trouble quick, right? It's like we were talking about earlier.
Well, I mean, for God's sakes, sorry,
If you get a-
I'm
if you
letting
get
the
a-
mask slip a little bit, but in the first round, he almost lost. He went to ultimate tiebreaker
yeah,
against the kid who didn't even place.
yeah, and it's just like, man, it will. I'm thinking back to last year, like him and Clay Crane. I saw them have matches multiple times, and it's just like you. He reminds me of a Cuban wrestler.
Mhm.
Okay, like you've ever watched like Cubans in the Olympics or whatever. Like they try to conserve their energy, and they're gonna just do just as much as they need to do to get enough points to outpoint their other opponent.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have no problem winning a match. 3-1. Right? They get a takedown, you get the escape. Cool. We'll just hang out here and hand fight the rest of the time. I'm winning. Right? Like and I just see some of that in Eli Sheffield's game, and I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like he moves well, he's strong, like he does good things, and I just like to see him, open some more opportunities up for himself to score points by shooting more, just attacking, go for an ankle pick, go for something, you know what I mean? Just I would just like to see more out of that.
But and then I will come to his defense and say, like, in that Bradley match, he didn't win it, but he did let it fly. That's the and I tell all my wrestlers, it's not so much wins and losses. Hey, it's cool to win, sucks to lose, but if you can battle and you can wrestle to your potential, I think it's a beautiful thing, and that's something that's Eli Sheffield.
Yeah, and it's like,
You
all
know?
right, but don't wait.
Right,
Like if you might have put yourself in a bad position. Like I don't know what you were feeling in there. I don't know what caused you to to lose that match or get down. But what I would say is all right, by nature you are now forced to wrestle in a way that you don't wrestle like, and so now you're actually creating more opportunities for your opponent to beat you because this ain't what you do, right? It's what you should have been doing, right? And it's like, hey, let's go. Let's incorporate this. Like now we know, right? Now we know, like, because he was one of the ones that I was expecting to be in the finals, and it was just like that style caught him, man. Like that, and that's all it is, Like you just need the foot on the gas a little bit more, you know. And I think I think you're gonna find a whole different level of success if you do that.
Yeah. Which, hey, you know what? His career is not done. He's gonna go scratch that itch. I think he's verbally committed to Williams Baptist. I know he has. I don't think he's signed the paper yet, but Cooley gets in that room with those guys. He'll meet up with Clay Crane again, and
There you go.
I'm sure he'll get pushed and he'll reach a whole nother level of where his potential's at. Now, with that said, Parker Bradley, hey, he ended the tournament run on a high note. He got that third place finish, and he just wrestled like he wrestles, and he can catch some kids, but there's other kids, and I think we saw that in the Clayton Jacobs match. It's just not going to work on some high offensive kids or kids that are expecting. They know what to look for now. They know you're ready to try and catch.
Yep.
And so, it's just a little bit more evolving to happen, which, I mean, I think if I'm not yet 10th grader, it's going to happen. And also, cut him some slack too. Like he came back from a rough injury. It's hard to come back from that, like, so to miss half the season with an injury and to come back and get back into the fray of things and then, finish third place and do all that good stuff. I mean, that's good. I mean,
He's still a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah.
He's still great, and so is Eli Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is just criticism that's going to help you grow.
Yeah, I think we're being a little hard on them just because it's very clear that we can see where you can go, but it's like you're kind of in a holding pattern because you're being like content with where you're at. Does that make sense?
I get it, but I don't think we're being harsh on them. I think we're telling them what they need to hear.
Yeah.
Because you had an injury. If it's still bad and it's still bothering you, then why are you out there wrestling? But if you're gonna step on the mat, man, go wrestle. You know what I mean?
No, the injury part is just like like you've been injured, I've been injured. It's you get a little bit of a mental block, where it's like.
But the state tournament wasn't the first time you wrestled since your injury.
That's valid.
Like,
so then I guess that comes back.
And you've been in the state tournament before, so it's like you know what to expect.
Well, right. So I mean, I guess at that point, especially that semifinal match, that was where our comments on the style come into play. I think a little bit more, where it's like don't sit, expand beyond a fireman's, don't do more than just try and catch on bottom. I guess that comes into play.
Yeah.
There. And which again, I mean, once you start, I mean, he has athletic ability. He clearly likes the sport. Once you start expanding your repertoire, I mean, and you have more options. Again, that's why everyone has their go-to shot, but you need a second shot because eventually someone's going to watch your tape.
That's why you got to know how to chain wrestle.
Yeah, like someone's going to watch your tape and it's like, oh, they like to hit a fireman's. Well, I'll just keep my distance a little bit, or I won't tie up, or I'll take it to them and I won't hang out and wait for you to do like an arm drag or a spin move or whatever. And so then once that door is shut and you can't access it, and it's like, well, what are you going to do next? Well, now you don't have an offense.
But you need to have, I call them switch offs, right? It's like, okay, if your fireman is your best move, okay, well, you've got to anticipate that people are gonna start figuring that out. Okay, what's your switch off, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you feel something in the momentum of the fireman and you realize it's not gonna work, what are you switching off to? You need to be switching off to something other than getting flattened out.
Right.
I mean, that's just what it is. But in the more options that you have of, okay, when I feel this, all right, boom, I'm gonna go here. The next time I feel that, I'm gonna switch it off to a single leg.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just gonna drop down to the ankle and start backing out with it.
Right.
But if you gotta have something, right? And because like I said, he's a solid, fundamental wrestler. Like what he does it well. But you just need to have more things to switch off to, right? And like that's my only thing. I'm saying.
Yeah, in high school we called that like a secondary offense. You have your two primary shots, but then, like I say, especially in this age where, especially now with how much obsessed we are with flow, all your matches are readily available. And so if you just watch your match and it's like, okay, he likes to hit this shot, and that's all I ever see them hit. I mean, I think that's what happened in some other matches we saw during the tournament is like, oh, that shot's just not working like it used to because people probably saw some tape or they've been around the game long enough to see like that's what you like.
Yeah.
And so, hey, and if you have a coach that has some good experience and some knowledge, they like, okay, well, they like to hit this. This is what you got to do in response to it. And they make a game plan surrounding that.
Right. And especially, with him coming back off of that, that he was state champion last year, wasn't he?
Who, Parker?
Yeah.
Runner-up.
Runner-up, yeah. Well, he was a finalist last year, right? Bro, you put that target on your own back. You think people don't know who you are now? Of
Right.
course they do, right? So the only way to not fall behind is to stay ahead. You
Mhm.
got to keep evolving. You got to keep, progressing and adding tools to the tool belt,
Yeah.
right? But that goes for any of these wrestlers. Like any of you state champions this year, please believe they're going to watch those tapes and they're going to be trying to figure out for the next 365 days how to stop that. So you need to be adapting. You need to be improving.
Mhm. No, yeah, well said, man. I mean, and that's what I was kind of talking about, the whole holding pattern stuff, where it's just you get this mentality where it's like, well, this works. This is my trusted shot. This is my trusted breakdown. This is my trusted escape. Like this is just going to work.
Yeah, it works until it doesn't.
Exactly. And so that's why you can, you always need to be hungry.
That's
And
right.
you always need to be looking for that next meal, that next technique.
Well,
That's
I mean,
going.
I'm going to use myself as an
Mhm.
example. Man, I've been doing this for 18 years.
Right.
I'm still one of the biggest students of the game. I'm always learning. I'm always evolving because the sport is going to evolve. And if I want myself and my fighters and my competitors to stay at the top, we have to keep staying. We have to keep staying and steadily improving,
Right.
right? And so like you can't just say, "Oh, well, this is what worked," when I wrestled back in Iowa in the 80s, you know?
Right, dude.
I mean, I'm just saying, man, it's like, yeah, the foundational stuff, yeah, it's necessary, it's needed.
Mhm.
But you got to know like, hey, this is some of the new leg riding that these people are doing, right? And if you're not even aware of it, then how are you going to defend it?
Yeah.
It's like you gotta understand, what's happening in the world of the sport, and just always be a student. I guarantee you ask Coach Kyle Brewer, is he still a student? Absolutely. You ask Coach Lasdowski, you ask Dave Sutherland, you ask any of them, are they still students? Yeah, they're still learning, they're still keeping up. You know what I'm saying? That's how they're staying at the top like that.
Right. I mean, you gotta, you know. Um, but anyway, so moving on to 75.
All right, we had Robert Martin of Van Cleve taking on Garner Taylor of Ocean Springs, with Garner Taylor being your 175-pound state champion. Well, okay. I mean,
Go
if
on, Tim, let it out, dude.
well, I mean, it just wasn't much to it. It's like Garner Taylor got an escape and won the state championship. It was a 1-0 match. It just looked like they went out there and just negated each other for 5 minutes and 59 seconds. And it was on a reset. Garner Taylor got the escape point, and I mean that's just kind of what happened. Like I mean, now you go back. I mean, now Garner Taylor looked good, against Brandon and BJ in the semifinals. But that's kind of where BJ's injuries kind of just it all collectively caught up to him. Garner Taylor is a very strong kid. Wrestles hard. He's gonna come out there and put his hands on you, and when he can grab something, he's gonna grab it and go with it. And hey, man, BJ was pretty banged up, heading into this weekend, and man, he just got banged up some more when you going out there with a physical specimen like Garner Taylor.
Right.
And so that's just kind of what happened. BJ couldn't really keep up with the physicality of Garner Taylor in the semifinals match, but I mean that's there wasn't just a lot that happened in the finals match. It just wasn't. Um, like I said, both men were trying, to do something, but I mean, it just wasn't a whole lot either, though.
Yeah, and it might be a function of, Ocean Springs and Van Cleave are right next to each other, and both programs they want to go out and compete, and so I'm sure they've wrestled each other a handful of times. I know they wrestled each other in the South State Finals, and I imagine when you get to that big stage and you have all that history with each other, you wrestle a little bit more conservatively, and maybe again we don't have these opportunities to watch their matches too often, but maybe he was nervous for like counter offense, and that's why they didn't want to shoot, or they were picking their battles. Who knows? And especially when it's like a 1 point match, and a takedown decides it, you might get a little gun shy with 30 seconds left to go, and you might think about when I got to time this perfectly, and kind of get lost in the clock or lost in the moment. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why it played out the way it played out, but my guess is that the game plan was just let's aim small, miss small. Let's be a little conservative. Garner's strengths is his physicality. And he can control the ties. He can control where the match is occurring. Um, and he has a good head hands defense. And so I would not be surprised at all if it was just a matter of I'm going to put some points on that board and I'm going to put up all my defenses and good luck getting through them.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that, but man, I just me as a fan, and even as a competitor, I'm just not a fan of that. Right, like I
Yeah.
would take more of the Jayla Anderson, Alasia Green approach. Right, it's like once you go out there and both wrestle. Who cares if a point gets scored on you? You score you some points too, right?
Right.
Like that's what I'm expecting to see. Is, like I said, yeah, they probably have wrestled each other 4 or 5 times. So did they, and it was split, and they still both went out there and sent it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that's just kind of the mentality that me personally, like I like to approach it with, and I like to instill into people. Like, hey, who cares, man? If they can score points, guess what? You can score too, right? If they're not being just locked down, Fort Knox defense. It's like, okay, well, there's gonna be an opening, right? If they're shooting, there's an opening, right? Sprawl and turn, like you've got opportunity too, right? So the more active that you're being, the more opportunity it'll create, and that's just me. That's just more of like what I like. Now, I mean, hey, like both of them, like they knew what each other was gonna do, and they just shut it down. I mean, they just shut each other down, and it's kind of like Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis,
Mm.
right? It's like the two knockout kings were in like the most boring fight you'll ever watch. It's like, how does this happen? It's because, man, like they both they and honestly, it looked like they respected each other too much, right? They respected each other's game. They're like, oh man, if I make a mistake, it's over with.
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of
Yeah,
looked like.
that's probably-
It looked like they both gave each other too much respect.
Yeah, I mean they both have good shots, and so it's just like if I step out of position, they're gonna hit me, and I don't want to give up a takedown. So like you were saying, like I don't want to I don't want to get into this exchange because one overhand right,
It's all it
not
takes.
lights out. So one good blast double or one good outside single, like hey, that could have been the match. So it might have been one of those things, but hey, not every win has to be exciting, and not everyone has to be pretty.
Winning is winning.
The only thing that anyone's ever gonna remember is Garner Taylor got his hand raised.
That's
at the end.
right. That's right.
He held
That's
up
right.
the bracket at the end. So,
Yep, winning is winning.
and according to track, he's a junior, so he has another year.
There you go.
So, hey, it'll be very exciting to see what he does. Of course, I got to shout out Liam Langstaff, DeSoto Central. I got to shout you out because same thing I've been shouting out other kids, just the improvement he's had. He was kind of reckless and chaotic the first year where it was like wrestling flubber, where it was more so like kids would try and take blast doubles on him and he would just flip and flop and flow out of it and end up on top and get some points or get a pin. This year he's evolved. He got an offense, he got a good defense, he got solid in all positions. I always have to commend wrestlers who put in the time, put in the effort, and he also just has a really positive attitude. His consolation finals matches ended in a less than satisfactory way, and I think the average person would have had a moment, a crash out, if you will. Whether on the mat or in private, but when I ran into him and I was ready to give a coach's pep talk, he just happens.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Just happy to compete. And it's like that's why I love you, buddy. Like he just has such a good just a good mind state. I know obviously I know it probably bugged him, but he was just happy to compete and do as well as he did, and I think he's going to move on to his next chapter in life with good spirits, and oh man, that just it warms my heart thinking about it.
Yeah,
he's a kid who it's nice being around him,
and he's one that we saw him firsthand put in a lot of work over the summer. He leaned into hey, I'm all right. I'm gonna go with Ian. When Ian, he's gonna go somewhere and wrestle, I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, and he's another kid. Oh my gosh, sorry, because he worked his butt off all summer long, so we go to these Deep South duels. And as you guys might recall, when we in our summer recap, broke his leg first match.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
broke his leg first match, anticlimactic, and then 6 to 9 weeks of recovery, and then some rehab. So he missed a lot of preseason training too, and then so to come back from that injury and to just let it fly his last year was really awesome. I also want to give a shout out. There's two other wrestlers. I know there's a handful of other wrestlers. Smith from Tupelo. Let me remind myself what year we are. Um, sorry. Jameer Smith, Jr. Um, raw, and I love it. I mean, he's just a kid that he needs some development for sure. But what I loved about him and just in Tupelo in general, a lot of those kids, they have the intangibles that you can't really coach. They're very athletic, very strong, but they just really just want to win.
Yeah, they're competitors.
And so him specifically, like he stayed in the fight. Even when he was gassed and tired, he's still trying to make something happen, which, most wrestlers don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see him huffing and puffing and still pushing forward and still trying to make something happen. So I admired that a lot about him. And he was someone who, there's a rivalry a little bit between Oxford and Tupelo. So, but regardless of that, it's still like, hey, respect, dude. Like,
Right.
I can dig this. Um, so watching him, he was always a kid that I would watch his matches just because I respected his kind of warrior spirit.
Well, you know who he
Um,
kind of reminded me of? You might remember this wrestler from a couple years ago. He was an Oxford wrestler, Kamar Houston,
yeah.
right? Whenever I saw Smith this year, because Smith, just kind of popped out of nowhere, but it's like, dang, this dude's like crazy athletic, and it's like he still, needs to learn some wrestling, but like you can tell he's wrestled some brothers in the yard. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a brother, or he had his cousins that they tried to slam each other in the yard and stuff because he's got some of that schoolyard wrestling.
yeah.
And like his just athletic ability, his want to win, and just some intangibles. Like he looked very competitive, without a lot going into him.
And then obviously Brandon Mahan, um, he had a great season. I'm proud of him for going to the tournament, doing the best he can. I mean, I'm not going to spill his business, but he had a bunch of injuries going
Yeah.
into the state title or state tournament, and that's not an excuse. He consented to work through it and step on the mat, and he just did the best he could do with what he had, and I think it's very admirable to be that level of a competitor, and we're just gonna have to get that body healthy again and get back to work.
Yeah, because I mean he was banged up going to the North Half and
Yeah.
still won that. You know, but it's just it wasn't much time because it was an additional stuff that happened at North that he had to power through, which I was very impressed with him for that. And I went up to him afterwards. I was like, hey man, like you needed to do that, right? Like going into next weekend, like you needed to find that mental fortitude and that testicular fortitude to keep battling and go out there and handle business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I knew that the Garner Taylor matchup was right there. I knew
Mhm.
that was on the horizon, and he just man he had a tough physical match with Harden before that match. You know what I mean? And it just kind of snowballed into what it was. But he still got one more year. So I'd say this summer, man, just get your body healthy, keep working, much as you can, but get the body healthy and get it ready to go.
And then, sorry, there's just a couple more names. Shaw Pruitt, math and science. Same reason why I've been talking about other kids. Just his development over the years has been really cool. I don't think, he's just a couple exchanges away from placing higher than what he did, but this was the best he's looked in his career this season. Um, so not only is it a testament to what he put into this, but also it's just a general shout out to whatever math and science is doing.
Yeah.
Coach Coover and Coach Brower, they're doing a really good job further developing athletes. Because I was with Shaw for 2 years at South Pontotoc trying to set him up and trying to do these moves, and then after 1 year at math and science, just I saw that level jump, and then this year everything was starting to seem to come together. So shout out to him. Shout out to math and science in general. You guys are clearly doing good work. And then I just gotta, just in general, I gotta show some love to Grayson Holly. Little Holly of South Pontotoc. Hey,
He be back.
your time's coming, buddy. Just keep on grinding. You know, this is now. I'm with no shame. You let me buy a show. He's one of my kids. Love him to death. Keep grinding, dude. Come back over the summer. We'll get you on that podium at some point.
Yeah. Hit the weights and hit the mats.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's keep on moving on.
All right. So that brings us to 190 pounds. We had Colin Christensen of Picayune taking on Bradley Spicer of Van Cleve, with Colin Christensen being your 190-pound state champion. All right, this one right here was a good match. This was a really good match, man.
Yeah.
You know, both like this is the kind of wrestling that I love to see, and you know, Christensen, you know, 2-time state champion. Hey man, that speaks a lot to this young man's work ethic, his willingness to learn, and you know, Coach Brewer doing a great job, you know, with him. It was even one time in the match, right? Because they kind of went back and forth, and Christensen, you know, he was up, and I saw Coach Brewer. He stood up and he's like, "Hey, smart decisions, right?" And like Christensen, he was just like, "Yes, sir." You know what I'm saying? Like he knew that he was in a battle, he was up, but he wasn't playing it safe either. He was still looking to score points, but he was just making good decisions, and I was really impressed with Colin Christensen and Spicer, man, and Spicer.
Yeah, I mean, I think Colin looked fantastic in that finals match. It's clearly he let it fly. You know, it's corny, but we always say the state tournament or the national tournament at college, it makes or breaks you. Like you get to find out what you're about really quickly, and you're either going to perform better than you ever have in your entire career, or you're going to get broken. And so I think in that moment, he was made.
Yeah,
He wrestled on all cylinders, and it was really pretty. And he wrestled I was pretty impressed by it. So congratulations, Colin. I know you got one more year left, and you're in good hands with that
yeah,
program.
yeah. I'm fairly confident in a three-peat for Mr. Christensen, right? Like if he continues to work, and because I mean he looked good last year, but I mean he looked even better this year. And so if he can maintain improving like that, it's like, man, I'll be very, very excited to get to see him wrestle next year for sure.
And then I don't want to, but I gotta talk about the backside. Well, in my own wrestler. So shout out to Riley Urquhart. Um, we're talking about wrestling to your potential. Oh man, this sucks. That semifinals match against Christensen, he wrestled to his potential, and that's something that, um, I wanted to see. And it only sucks because, like I said, I got to know Riley over the course of this year. He's a wonderful, wonderful man, um, good kid, and just he gave Colin probably the toughest match of the tournament.
I was just about to say
And
that.
I no, in no disrespect, but like that was probably the unofficial state finals. That semifinal round. I mean, and Riley had a few opportunities to pull off the upset or pull off the win, but Colin he just outmaneuvered a little bit when in those closing seconds, or like around the 30-second mark, and he pulled it off. And it's one of those things where it's like you can't help but be proud because like your wrestler just wrestled at a level that you always knew he could get to. And then we had a strategy going in. We knew he loved those throw bys. He was defending it really well. And so it was a wonderful match, and Riley did a really good job. But then he did a great job getting to those consolation finals. And this is when I have to shift gears a little bit and give props to McCray. Um, that kid he finds a way to win. I tell you what, in all of his matches, never count that kid out. He's looking to create opportunities, and he seizes on them when he gets them. And in that third and fourth place match, he was down by quite a bit, and an opportunity opened for him, and he capitalized it, and he got the win. and it's not how I wanted that match to go. But you have to show respect when it's earned. And I tell you what, McRae, um, like I said, he found his way to win, and that's admirable and it's respectable. And he has 2 more years left, and so um, I think if we've been talking about a few wrestlers. I think if he hits the gym and he gets jacked, I think he'll definitely be in contention for a finals appearance. But he's on a technical side of things. He's looking really sharp, and like I said, he's just never count that kid out. Um, but yeah, so this weight class was tough. I think Riley was a solid kid, and no, that undersells it. He's a fantastic wrestler. McRae's great. Christensen, Spicer, even really tough kids. So those 4 really quality wrestlers in this weight class for sure.
Yeah, and man, that like the semifinals match with Colin and Riley, like that would be one of the matches that I'll point to some people, and because I use this as an example. Like me, I'm a performance person over results,
Yeah,
right? I've seen some people have the best performances they've ever had in matches that they lost,
yeah,
right? And so I would point to that, and like that's one of them. It's like, man, like you performed at where your potential was or better, even though you didn't get the result.
hmm
Like that's the kind of performances that you want to continue to replicate, even though it may not have went your way. If you can do that on a consistent night in and night out basis, you're going to find a ton of success.
yeah.
You know,
No, absolutely. I mean, that's why it was one of those things where like it stung a little bit, but like I said, I felt a lot of pride in that moment just to see him wrestling to that ability, to that level, on that level, quality of an opponent. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So regardless, hey, congratulations to top 4 finishers. I thought that was really cool. I do want to give one shout out. Well, actually two. Shout out to JD Matthews. I just love you. You're great. You have just the attitude you carry with yourself everywhere you go.
And he kept all of
Just
his matches tight,
yeah.
man. Like even though he didn't get up there on the podium like as high as he would have
Mhm.
liked to or whatever. It's like, man, he's kind of like Liam, right? Just has the best attitude
Mhm.
about it. I mean, just went up against nothing but hammers all weekend long.
His entire career.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's just-
But he's also another one. It's like he's only in the ninth grade,
yeah,
right? Like he's gonna keep getting better, right? And it's like all that experience it's gonna pay off because he hasn't had an easy path the past couple years. Especially being that middle schooler who just so happened to be a big kid.
Mhm.
He was still very much had that sweetheart kid in him, right?
Oh yeah,
But it's like he still got that great heart, but like you're starting to see a good bit more of like that meanness and that fight come out on the mats. You know what I mean? Like he's not running from any of these guys who are expected to win. I mean, he made every single match tight.
yeah,
He made everybody who if you did beat him, you earned it, right? He didn't give you nothing, right? And he picked up some wins too.
yeah, and that's something that I always that's what's great about it. Same with McRae. It's one of those things where he can be a little funky, but unorthodox, and he can catch you, and never count him out.
Right.
And also, like I said, his attitude he carries with him has been fantastic. And then the other kid that I want to comment on is Harley Johnson, Pontoc City. He's just one of those kids where as soon as he gets refined, he's going to be a massive problem.
Yes.
Kid's a unit, and he wants to win really badly. And those two things working together makes you pretty dangerous.
Yes.
The only thing holding him back right now is he just doesn't know how to wrestle.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's just situational awareness,
yeah,
right?
I, yeah,
Is the best
that's
thing to
probably a
say.
better way to phrase it. You need more mat time, buddy.
Yeah.
As soon as you get more mat time and you get the feel and you polish up those techniques a little bit, let me go back and see what grade he's in. But it's because I want to say, yeah, 10th grader. So if, and this is a big if, he spends some time getting some mat time this summer, I would probably say title contender.
Yeah.
Um, I'm probably going to say title contender because just his, his physicality, his mentality, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So gets some technique involved and some skill and some mat awareness and mat feel, I think he has a good shot.
That's right. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a huge problem. That is a name that people should be keeping on their radar. You
Yeah,
know, and but a lot of that's gonna depend on him,
yeah, that's true.
right? Like maybe not. You know, what are you gonna do with the next 365, man? Like you gonna keep wrestling and keep I mean, he clearly lifts weights. I don't think I need to remind him to lift, but
Right.
he's definitely doing that. But it's like, hey, man, like, are you really gonna put some time into refining the craft, right? It's like now after 2 seasons, it's like we should be getting to the understanding that strength will get you a long way, but it ain't gonna get you up all the way,
Exactly.
right? You've got to be matching technique with that, and that's where you're gonna truly find some success. But I'm looking forward to it, man. Like 190 could be very, very interesting next year. That's for sure. Which is going to lead us into the 215-pound weight class where we had Jordan Sherrod of Van Cleve taking on Davin Foyt of Lewisburg, with Jordan Sherrod being your 215-pound state champion. Man, Jordan Sherrod is an absolute beast. I mean, just some of the success that he's had, wrestling throughout the season, going over into Louisiana, winning that tournament, getting most outstanding wrestler of that tournament, I believe. And just, man, like, I mean, he's just technically, physically, like, just the way he understands his body and how to utilize his tools. Man, he is just a huge, huge problem for anybody out there, right? And he wrestled a lot of this season at heavyweight, dominating,
Hmm.
but it's like, but he's only 215 pounds.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where it's like, man, like that kid, like he's operating on another level. And I mean, look, Davin Foyt had a heck of a season. I know he went up there to Dark Horse and placed there, did well against good competition. But I mean, Jordan Sherrod, there is still that gap there at the 215 pound when Jordan Sherrod's on the mat.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something that I haven't said already. But unfortunately, I can't. Just League of His Own, man. It wasn't. I'll just speak very flippantly here. There just wasn't competition that he faced. I mean, we got fall major. Um, he clearly, the time and effort that he's put in, translated very well, and it just um, it paid off. And it was very impressive. I mean, again, that was the first time I got to see him this season, and Jordan Sherrod looks like Jordan Sherrod.
Yep.
Physical, good movement. He moves incredibly well for a big boy weight class. I think that helps him out a lot. Like, just
It goes like we were talking about the house balls, right? Just smooth,
yes,
right?
he's
Like you
smooth
can
with
see
it.
the calmness. Like when he's in there, like you can just see the calm on his
Hmm.
face, right? And that's kind of one of those recurring themes to particularly the winners of Van Cleve, right? Like you kind of saw Gilbert get a little frustrated,
Hmm.
right? Like some of the ones that you kind of saw Spicer get a little frustrated, right? But your Daniel Lindsay, your Al Spaz, Carroll, Sherrod, it's like, man, they were just calm. They were just calm, like there's a storm around them, and they're just okay, right? And it's like that's kind of like the common theme that I saw.
Oh yeah, and so I mean, and it was a nice fun match. It was nice to see that. Um, all right, let me pick my words here carefully. It's nice to see these big boys open up.
Yeah,
And that's what Sherrod did. He used his ties not to hang out, not to drape, but he used it to what they're for, to try and open up his opponent.
yeah,
Put the push, pull, getting him moving, stepping, circling, and then when he saw that opportunity, hit it.
yeah,
And so where Floyd is good is he's good at controlling the pace, slowing things down, waiting for his opportunities, hanging on you, forcing you to make mistakes so he can capitalize on it, and kind of um, almost kind of like trench warfare. I've seen a lot of like back and forth and not a lot of instigating action where Sherrod wasn't playing that game at all. He was getting to his ties and using those ties as you needed to use them to get him to move, to open him up. And as soon as he saw his opportunity, like, and another thing I like about him, he was fearless. I think big boys are in general scared to get underneath one another.
Yeah.
Whereas Sherrod is like, I'm going. And I'm
Right.
gonna make this happen. And he just kept moving and he moved and he didn't stop moving. So that's another thing that again, where mad experience will get you there. Where it's like you're not scared to shoot or you're not scared to keep moving or you cannot get stuck in the mud because you're used to getting those good hard reps of getting to those legs and keeping those feet moving to get those takedowns. Um, and so Sherrod had an answer for that strategy. And I mean, and like look at the score. He blew it up. I mean, 15-4.
Yeah.
So he got to his offense. He got to it often. And he got those points. But like you were saying, Foyt had a heck of a season, just to get to that state finals match. And people can be mad all they want, but a win's a win. He wrestled for the state finals. Everyone else didn't.
Yeah.
So and I'm saying that because I was the one stewing constantly. He's a thorn in my side all dang season. Like, golly, but hey, he wrestled in the state finals. My kid didn't, or other kids didn't, and it is what it is.
That's right.
You know,
That's
he
right.
can say he wrestled on the big show. Now outside of that, I think 215 had four quality wrestlers. Obviously, Sherrod is Jordan Sherrod. I think Foyt's solid, man. I mean, he got runner up at the Black Horse, and you don't get that by accident.
Right.
And those are quality wrestlers at the Black Horse tournament is a very quality tournament. Say what you want to say, but the best teams in Louisiana, Tennessee, and surrounding states go to that tournament. So he beat some good kids to get there. So Foyt's solid. I think Braxton Roan's really solid.
Yeah.
And I think Rex Forsyth is really solid. I think those are all kids that have proven track records of success wherever they go. I know Rex Forsyth has beaten good out of state kids, so has Braxton Roan. So, those top four placements, really good. And so I know Rex had a good tournament, Roan had a good tournament, and obviously Sherrod and Foyt had a really great tournament. And so Sherrod's graduating, Foyt's graduating. I think it's going to be the big boy weight class, whether it's 215 or heavyweight. It's going to be Braxton Roan and Rex Forsyth. I don't know really any other heavyweights that are even competitive with those two right now. Because, I mean, again, it's one of those interesting things. And this is kind of a forced comparison, but, like back in the day when Kyle Dake and David Taylor were wrestling with each other, those are the ones going back and forth, neck and neck. And then there's this third guy named Tyler Caldwell who wrestled at Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And he would major and tech everybody. But then he wrestled the second place guy, David Taylor, get worked by him. He'd wrestle number one Kyle Dake, get worked by him. And that's where I think kind of like where like a Braxton Roan and a Rex Forsyth is you put up against any other 215 pounder in the state, they'll run through them. But you get to like a Jordan Sherrod, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's levels to it, which they're getting there. They're putting in the work too, and they're going to achieve a level of high competitiveness. Because especially if they have another year left.
Well, I'm about to say, I know Rex
know.
has at least a couple more years left.
Yeah. Double check. Yeah, no, Rex is a junior, Braxton's a junior.
Okay.
And I know, hey, they're both hard workers. They're going to put in the time. And like I said, I think next year, Rex could easily go up to heavyweight if he wants to stay at 215. That's great. Braxton, I would recommend he stays at 215. They're the ones to watch, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with that, man. All right, that's going to get us to that heavyweight weight class. We had Noah Glosson of Hernando taking on Caden Hill of Tupelo, with Caden Hill becoming your back-to-back state champion. Now, this was a rematch from the North Half State Championship, right? And before we get into any of the results or anything, which, man, Noah Glosson, my goodness, man, like, you were the underdog of the year. For sure, man. Like, when a lot of people doubted Noah Glosson believed in himself, right? And he's another one. He went looking for the smoke, right? Like, he wanted to train, he wanted to go wrestle. Like, he really bought into it, and man, he blocked out the noise all year long. He blocked out the noise, and like I said, he got second in North Half, second in state to the same person, right? So, and I mean, he looked real good, in the tournament this year. Up until he had to run into Caden Hill again, but I mean, like he went out there and he beat some guys like I believe he wrestled the boy from Picayune. It was either Picayune or Long Beach. No, I believe it was Picayune. Williams, maybe. Who was that? Who did he wrestle?
Easgar from St. Patrick's.
Easgar. That's who it was. That's who it was. But
Yeah.
it was a big name.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
exactly.
Like that's I couldn't. I mean, man, all them kids.
I know. Yeah, it all blurs together.
And I watched a ton of wrestling. Right.
It all blurs together.
Yeah.
It does.
But that match right there was a it was a good little battle for him. But you really got to see Noah Glosson shine in that match right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know what? Some years you run into a generational talent. It just is what it is. I don't want to use the word frustrating, but it's, if it was a different year, it probably would have been Noah's year. In a very short time, Noah has made himself into a very talented heavyweight wrestler. But like I said, Caden Hill, I don't think this is even crazy to say he's a generational talent.
Yeah,
he's a freak athlete who is good at probably everything he does, and he's great at wrestling, and it just is what it is. And so props to Caden Hill. I'm always torn because I love Noah. He's one of my boys. I've trained with him for 2 years now, and I feel almost guilty saying this, but Caden Hill, it's been a lot of fun watching you wrestle, buddy. You're very explosive. It was fun watching you last year. You've only leveled up this year. You've gotten bigger. Somehow you got bigger and haven't lost any of your speed.
Yeah.
It looks like he put on about 30, 40 pounds, and he's still just as fast and just as quick and explosive as he was in the previous season. And so it's been fun watching you wrestle. And we'll remember you for sure next year. And Lord knows what you're going to do collegiately, but you could easily wrestle wherever you want to wrestle. I'd love it if you continued wrestling. That'd be dope. But I'm sure you could do football or baseball or whatever you want to do, man. But congratulations to your title, Noah. Yeah, we talked already, buddy, and Tim basically said it. Your career is only over if you want it to be. Tremendous season. And I want to emphasize which again, these are stories I love. Everyone doubted you. No one thought you were going to be in that match, and you did it. And I also want to shout out to Isgar. He's a kid I've watched a couple years now. You've had a lot of talent, a lot of promise, a lot of ability. You had that heartbreak in the semis, but you battled back for that third place finish. And that's very admirable as you as a competitor, and you brought respect to your school, and there's a lot to be proud of there. And you were someone that I always kept an eye out for, and at these state tournaments, and it was cool to see you compete. And those are, and then I just want to shout out Anton Suggs. He's just one of those kids where it's just like you should be wrestling 215, but you got a kid named Rex Forsyth keeping you from getting there, and he just wants to compete. And so he's willing to give up, 3-4 inches of height and, a couple, 20, 30 pounds just to have the opportunity to wrestle. And by golly, he got on the podium.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just who he is. He wants to battle. I mean, he's one of the kids I remember very fondly, when I would coach up at Community Combat, where it's just he just wants it so bad. He's one of those kids where it's just like, no, you need to take a break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you're way too banged up right now. No, I got to put me in. It's like, and he's a senior too, so it's great to see that he ended his career on the podium.
What grade is Brown from Long Beach in?
Senior.
Oh man, that's disappointing. I would have liked to seen him get one more year. That is a massive human being. Like, that dude is huge, but he was athletic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he moved very, very well for his size. Like, he wasn't just like one of those big guys that kind of, looked like they had the stiff legs. Like, no, man, like, this dude was very athletic, but he was a gigantic human being.
Yeah, and he had a great tournament. I'm seeing that. I know he lost to Pontotoc City in the first round, but he got his get back in that 5th and 6th place match.
And if you were watching that match, dude, he was dominating that match. It was the same thing, right? Like, but Cother from Pontotoc, man, like, hey, he's the 10-second wrestler.
Yeah.
Right? It's like he's gonna let you get all the points and everything you want to for 2 full periods. Then you get about 15, 10 seconds left in that third. He's finna go for it.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off, man. He pulled it off a couple times in the state tournament, you know. And you know, Brown would just happen to be a victim of that. You know. But I thought Brown looked great. You know, he was one of the ones that, you know, I wish we could have got another year of seeing him wrestle, man. I think that I think he would have brought an interesting aspect to that heavyweight weight class. Like if he could have got a little more experience,
Yeah.
right? I think he's one of them kids that athletically could have gave Caden Hill a problem,
Mm.
right? Because you kind of saw Paul Harvey's, you know, it was kind of his weight last year, you know, when he was able to tie up with Hill and kind of lean on him and tire him out a
Mhm.
little bit, you know, that's kind of what gave Hill the problems. And I think since Hill had put on weight this year to kind of negate that problem from happening again, I think, you know, Brown was one of the ones, if he could have got a little more wrestling experience and we could have seen that matchup, that might have been pretty good next year.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, man. I mean, what a weekend.
Man, it was
You know.
great wrestling. Heartbreak, of course, is always going to be there when you come across it, but there's also glory,
It is.
right? There's glory.
That's what the sport's all about, man. Just chasing after that glory, those big moments. Just to create your stories. You
That's
know.
right. That's right. And hey, the ones who went out there and, you know, put that stamp on your legacy, congratulations.
Oh, for sure.
You earned it. You earned it. And hey, there was some, I had to say, like this year, you know, we've had, you know, legit state champions, you know, but I mean, I would have to say this year, like with some of these matchups, you know, it's like, especially on the girls side of it, it's like, hey, you earned that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was out. They had some tough finals matches. You know, good competition. And hey, man, congratulations to all the coaches, all the wrestlers. You know, on another successful season. Hey, next season starts now.
Right. And so, I mean, I want to end this, or at least I will end by saying, yeah, if you have more time in high school and, you had some heartbreaks, well, guess what? You got a year to prepare. And so, it's again, which, hey, from what I talk to, the kids and coaches are catching on.
Yeah.
They realize what the secret sauce is. It's just more wrestling.
Yep.
And get in touch, with your coach. See if you can find a club or find a space to do some off-season training. If your school doesn't have an affiliate club, hey, think about starting one. See what your options are. It's just not. It's not a secret. Look where see all the top place winners, top 1 through 5 maybe, and ask them, did you wrestle in the off season? I did the numbers for my own club, and we had 16 state medalists, 3 state champions, multiple finalists, and so it's like, and it's not surprising that they got there because they were working from March until August, 2, 3, 4 times a week and traveling, 2, 3 times a month to competitions. And so, if this is your sport, if this is something you feel passionate about, if this is something that you've fallen in love with, um, it's not really even optional if you want to be successful.
Right.
And by successful, I mean, and again, you might just be a specimen and just naturally good at everything you do. But for the average wrestler, the average competitor, you got to put in some work and put in
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get better by sitting on your couch and watching wrestling videos. Like you need to get into a mat room and see what, and, that good stuff.
Get on
Right?
the mats and get on them weights, baby.
Oh, that too. I want to. Yeah, I'm always a proponent of getting jacked.
Yeah.
Pick up some dumbbells, pick up a barbell, join a gym, and also another. Listen, I've told a lot of kids this, then the other thing. I know a lot of our kids live in small communities that they might not have as much access as other places. Um, I promise you, your school has a weight room.
Yeah.
I promise you that there's athletic teams that go in there and lift weights.
You have a powerlifting coach.
There's no harm in asking a powerlifting coach or a football coach, hey, can I just please lift weights with you guys? I know that was very common when I was in high school. The summer weightlifting program was for football, but we had soccer players, basketball players, wrestlers, tennis players. We all lifted together. And so, just ask.
Yeah.
That would be great because we're also seeing that where the line of separation between some wrestlers is literally just you can bench the bar and they can bench 300.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, like
like Jake Stewart, Ace McCracken, right? It's like Jake Stewart, back to back state finalist, but in both finals matches, it's like, bro, you just gotta get a little bit stronger.
so. Again, we appeal every time, every year we made this appeal, but just do something, anything. Find a club, find a gym, put in some work. It doesn't have to be a season grind. You don't have to be going live for 2 hours, or you don't have to lift weights for 4 hours. But hey, get into
But
put
you need to be lifting 3 days a week. You
yeah,
need to be wrestling 3 days a week.
yeah, and it can just be quick. 45-minute strength workouts. 30, 40 minutes of just drilling and reviewing some techniques. I mean, just something that's making you better.
Right.
You know,
Anything's gonna get you better than doing nothing.
exactly.
Right. Like you said, it doesn't have to be this, 6 hour block that you got to put out of your day just to, get there and do all that. It's like, heck, man. Like, we just had this ice storm up here. I know y'all got some limbs cut up in the yard. Go out there and lift some of that. Do something like that. But, get creative, like use what you have, use your resources, become resourceful. The biggest thing, though, is raise your hand and ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ask somebody like, hey, can I go do this? Can you allow me to lift weights with y'all? Can you teach me? Like I ain't never really lifted weights. What do I need to do to get stronger? Right? Tell them. It's like, hey, if I get this dude that's 215 pounds laying on me, what do I need to get stronger at to
Mm-hmm.
get him off of me? Right? That's a very reasonable question, you know? But like I said, like as Joel has said, like that's our encouragement to all of you wrestlers, right? Is, hey, keep growing, keep becoming more competitive. But you got to put the work in, right? That's the only way. Just having the mentality of I want to be more competitive. You can want it all you want to up here. If you're not going out there and physically contributing to that effort, it's like you're not going to get the results that you're looking for, right?
Right. And then the last thing, just I don't know why that. Yeah, I feel so compelled, but this year is just another reminder of hey, we're a growing community. It's lovely to see. Um, it's been great. It was great. A lot of people came out to me to chat. I know you got a lot of people coming to your chat. It's great that you guys have been watching the program and seeing all the work that Tim and Ty do and what the network has done. And so this is I think I don't want to speak for you or speak for you and Ty or speak for every one of the network, but if you support this program and if you enjoy our content, both the podcasting and the live stream, as we look ahead to next year, vocalize it. It's one thing to put comments and DMing us, but tell the foundation, hey, we really enjoy the live stream and the comments. Tell your coaches, hey, we really liked it when the Mississippi Wrestling Network comes and covers our events. Um, I think that was a thorn in the side of the progress of the network this year is that the doors seem to be closing a little bit.
Yeah.
And we know because based on the conversations that I've had with fans is that you guys enjoy our products, whether it's the live streaming or whether it's the podcasting. And so tell your coaches, tell your ADs, especially tell the foundation, reach out to Sutherland, reach out to Jameson Roan, the president and vice president of the foundation, say, hey, we really like Tim and Ty. They make good quality work. Because that's a big way that doors can open up and we can continue growing um, this project.
Yeah. And on that same thing of like growing, it's like, we've gotten, several, thank yous and good things, but, also me and Ty, we do this 100% out of we don't make anything off of this, right? Like it costs us every time we go and do this, and we're not complaining about it, right? But hey, like when that's the scenario, right? When we're not getting sponsors, we're not doing this thing. It's like, look, we don't have a complaint box for you to report to either, right? So, look, I mean, I appreciate the support. But you keep the negative comments to yourself, right? Like until you're willing to do like what me and Ty have done and put our money where our mouth is to bring you a product that you don't have to pay for. It's like, hey, just enjoy the product, man, and appreciate what we're doing. Um, but hey, whenever you want to sign up to be a sponsor, I'll listen to you. I'll take any of your comments wholeheartedly. Send them my way. But until then, hey man, we're doing this out of the kindness of our heart and out of our own pocketbook, and man, we just appreciate, keep your comments respectful to us.
Yeah, I mean and we've been. I don't want to see we've been begging, but we kind of been begging for over a year now. Like, if you want to see some improvement, or if you have suggestions, or if you want to if you want your coach interviewed, if you want your athlete interviewed, or if you think there's some things that we can improve on, you can send a message. A lot of you guys have my personal number. You guys have Tim ways to contact Tim. You guys see us everywhere.
Yeah,
And then,
I mean,
but how many messages have you gotten in your DMs?
oh, none.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's like it's like
It's always on the live stream comments.
yeah, exactly. And in which, like I said, we want to come to places. You know what I'm saying? We want to do that, but it's we're at we're at we're on our own expenses doing that, and so it's one of the things. It's like, first off, we want to know that you want us to come,
Yeah.
because there's been a couple of times we have made these trips and we didn't get accommodated, and we didn't get to do the live streams. You know what I'm saying? And like, when I say accommodated, I mean we didn't get internet access. So it's like, we got all this stuff together. We came all that way, and it's like, well, do you even want us here?
Right.
And so that's just kind of the things that some of the things that we've had to battle along with this year. And so, hey, like, I love doing this. Me and Ty, we love the kids. We want to do this for them, and give them something to have memories on. And I know it feels good, to get recognized and get your name talked about and stuff like that. And we truly enjoy, bringing that, to these kids. Um, but it's like, if you're the parents or you're the, whoever, it's like, look, understand that, like, we're the ones doing this for the kids. Like, so you can keep your negative comments to yourself until you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, right? Like, that's just how I feel about that.
Yeah, and then my biggest appeal and the takeaway that I want you guys to have is just, hey, I love the outpouring of support when you see us in public. I love the comments under the post, but what's really going to help move the needle is, like I said, expressing to administration and expressing to the foundation that, hey, these are the guys you want to see at your events, because I know you love this stuff. You tell us that all the time.
Oh yeah.
But it's um, we Tim and Ty, they don't get to decide when they have to be welcomed and invited and accommodated.
Yeah, because me or Ty, neither one work for a school.
Yeah.
So it ain't like that. We're getting pulled into here and here through the school systems. Like we do have to be invited onto the campus to do all these things. You know what I'm saying? And so that's part of our holdup as well. It's like, if y'all are just telling us, well, why don't you come here? It ain't me. Tell them.
Yeah, tell your coach.
Yeah. Tell them that you want us to come, right? Like, I'd be glad to come, but it's kind of like going and staying a night over at somebody's house. You don't invite yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, God bless.
It's the same thing. It's like, I'm not going to invite myself to go stay the night at your house. So it's like, if you want us there, hey, invite us there, right? And if you're not the one who has the authority to invite us, well, go tell them that you want us invited there, right? Like that's the best way that you can really give us support to help grow.
Yeah, and we're just, I brought it up just because I love this project. I think we've done really good work, and it's something that I'm passionate about. And I know Tim and Ty are passionate about it. It's just there's a few hurdles this year compared to last year that were a little frustrating, and so I know we have the support of the community. And if you've ever thought about how can I support this, I mean, hey, we're not even asking for donations or sponsorships necessarily, but just expressing to the right people that you guys appreciate this and you like this product. But anyway, I wanted to get that out there because I think it's just important to address, especially now that this season's over, and I already know in the back of our minds we're thinking about what's next year going to look like. How much longer can we do this project? And so, in order for that to keep going, like I said, we're just going to need those obstacles to kind of go away.
At least some of them.
Yeah, at least some of them.
Like I don't have to. My improvement doesn't have to be from here to here, but if we can at least get from here to here, okay. Like I'm a fan of improvement in general, right? So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is how you can support and help us, continue to grow for you and for the community and for the kids. Because at the end of the day, I mean that's what it's about. It's about growing the sport, and that way, when the kids who are in the first, second grade, kindergarten now, like by the time they get to high school, it's like okay, well, we as a community have built something to provide them an opportunity that none of us ever got. And that's what it's about. Setting the future up for the future, right? Like give them more opportunities. 'Cause, especially being from Mississippi, you hear that all the time. Oh, there ain't no opportunity. There ain't this. There ain't that. We get overlooked. It's like okay, well, like here's our shot, right? Like we can legitimately like change the futures for the kids coming up. But it's like, what are you willing to do about it? You can see what I'm willing to do. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm getting on the road, and I'm going and doing these streams. I'm willing to do it, right? What are y'all willing to do, right? Help us help you, right? That's my message. Help us help you, right? Like these are great fans, very passionate community. I love this. I mean, I absolutely love it, right? And I want to see it be successful. I want to see all the kids be successful. I want to see the coaches continue to have success, the school success. We had a couple schools this year had some first time state champions. That's huge, man. Those kids that have done that, they will forever be cemented in the legacy of that school. That's the first ever state champion in wrestling for that school, right? You can never take that away from them, right? And that's something that these kids can genuinely build a legacy and do something that nobody's ever done in that school before.
Yeah, and the Mississippi Wrestling Network was there to broadcast it.
Right.
So
we brought it to you.
And so yeah. So thank you for listening to us rant, and I hope that it resonates with you guys. And I'll just echo what Tim says because I also just want to say it. Like this, I'm very passionate about this community, and I'm very passionate about this sport and what we got going on, and the exposure that this new media landscape presents is a huge opportunity. And I think we've done a really good job not tooting our own horn or giving us be self-congratulatory and all that stuff. But I guess since we're on the topic, I mean, think of the live stream, the coaches interviews, the live streams. I mean, college coaches have literally watched some of the live streams to get an idea of who they're trying to recruit in the state of Mississippi, and we got kids going to college. Now, I'm not saying that's entirely up to but this certainly played a part in it.
Yeah.
And so it's just
we did talk to those coaches. We did happen to put bugs in their ear. You know what I'm saying?
And so I just hope you can see what we see in the potential of what this can do. But anyway, yeah, love you guys, love these fans, love the supporters. We're so blessed, and I feel like I can speak for both of us that we're so blessed that you guys tune in to listen to us ramble and our takes, and I don't know why a couple of you guys came up to me and talked to me over the course of the state tournament. It just kind of it left a mark where it's like, man, you guys really do. We have a fan base, and not when I say we, I mean the wrestling community has a fan base, and it's wonderful. And so,
yeah, man,
just thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I had several people come up to me and talk to me, whether it be about the stream or the podcast. It's mostly positive. Mostly positive. Well, like I said, the complaint department does not exist over here right now. So like for those of you that want to, why I didn't get this, sorry, that does not concern me. I'm doing the best I can, to provide you the best product possible, with what I have. And, but the ones who are appreciative and all that, I appreciate you deeply. Like it means a lot because it is a lot, getting all this set up, move around, to bring you a good product that, it doesn't look like crap. It is a good product, but I want to do that for the community. I know that there's family in other states and stuff that want to tune in and see this, and I want to be able to bring those two parts of that family together for that moment. If I can, that's important to me. And man, I'm really happy to do it, and I'm thankful for my opportunity to get to be, Matt's side and do this, and get to build these relationships with coaches and get to build these relationships with these kids, and get to see the successes and all that. Like that's man, that's fun to me. I'm all about that. I love it. I really do. And again, it's been another great season. We're getting ready for summer season now. And hey, one last time before we sign off, again, another congratulations to all the state champions and all the coaches. Best of luck next year.
All right, until next season.
Peace.